in. Welcome in. Is everyone seeing and hearing? Thumbs up. Thumbs down. How's everyone doing? Happy, what day is it? Saturday? Happy Saturday. Hey, Wolfie. Hey, Inspector Gadget. Hey, Princess Megan Elsa. Okay, good. All right. Hi, Sleuth Mom. We'll be, Dexter might come up. My mom had asked ahead of time if I wanted Dexter up here, so I'm sure she'll hear this and she'll bring him up eventually. Oh, thank you, Lori. Okay, so while I say hi to everyone, I'm going to bring up Teresa. Hi,
Hi, everyone.
Whoop, whoop. This is where the party's at.
This is how we do it.
I had texted T and said, do you want to do something fun this weekend? And she was like, hell yeah, I do. So we're just gonna chill, hang out, talk about lots of different cases, and talk about anything, really. I mean, I have my list of things that I want to talk about, but I'm pretty much up for anything. What about you, T?
I'm good with anything. Pretty much there's just kind of like all kinds of like little odds and end things happening in the true crime community and world. So it's not like I haven't been focused on like following or digging into one case because I've been working on a couple pre-records of older cases. So I just been kind of following here and there with the updates on different things.
Yeah, that's kind of where I've been too, because I've been trying to do more deep dives and stuff like that, especially on my channel here. I want it to be more of like a deep dive. So when I was just like, hey, I'm not doing anything this weekend, let's see if T wants to come on and we'll just shoot the shit until we figure something out and we'll just hang out with everyone. Yep, TF.
You did a great job though on your first case live with Shannon Gilbert.
Thank you. Why, thank you. That one was one that I followed as it was happening and then was something that like I kept up with. So it was one of those that it always like bugged me. So
I watched all that unfolding like in real time, but then I never went back and dug into it. I have like a weird, like I follow serial killer cases, but I don't actually dig into them or like try to, I don't know why. You'd think I would since I like the psychology of true crime so much, but they don't fascinate me. Like their mental status doesn't fascinate me as much. I don't know why.
Hang Dexter. On. She is.
But I love Dexter, so I mean, I don't know. You
just send them in here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Yeah.
Come here, Dex.
Thank you. You say hi? Yeah.
Dexter. Hi, baby. What are you doing? How's your puppy doing?
He got a bath today.
Oh, look, he's looking all fancy with his little haircut on his ears.
Oh, I know. He's just gonna chill. I'm sure he'll jump down eventually, but oh, now he's licking himself, so now I'm gonna cover him up again.
It's weird that I want to click on your comments. I want to, and I can't do it. Yeah, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna click on this one, and then I can't do it.
I always forget to because I pop my chat out so that I can do like the polls and stuff, and so I like forget that I can pop them up on the actual thing.
Yeah, like Sleuth Mom. Well, anything you're saying is now irrelevant because there's a puppy. Yep. I just stopped. I just stopped talking. It doesn't matter. Nothing I have to say is important.
Right.
Dexter has arrived.
Dexter has arrived. Hey, Dex. Dexter.
He's so chill.
I know. Dex.
He's like, I couldn't kill even a fly if I wanted to.
We don't kill flies in our house. We catch them and let them go.
Flies have feelings?
Yeah, mostly I just think about how scared they must be when they get stuck.
Are you claustrophobic?
Yeah.
You're claustrophobic, so you transfer your feelings into the fly about how they must be feeling stuck wherever they are.
Yeah, mostly. But then, like, I mean, you can ask anyone, like my best friend Abby or, you know, my mods and stuff, the amount of times I'm just like, save to fly. We have our own little cup and paper downstairs, and
yeah, I'm not into saving flies, and I will not go out of my way to save a spider unless it's a daddy long legs.
I'll let die.
Daddy long legs I'm good with. The other ones, they got to go. Anything that's got hair like that, if they have hair, they're dead to me.
Yeah, me too. Hey, Allie. Plus, I have StreamYard on both, so my camera for StreamYard is on my phone, which is up there, and then my computer's down here, which is what I'm like doing everything with. So just to let everyone, if you guys see me looking up and down, I also have my notes on the side. So
she's just looking down on me, guys. Don't worry about it.
I keep Teresa in my pocket.
Yeah, I'm claustrophobic. You can't keep me in your pocket. I'll start freaking out, and you'll have to set me free.
Well.
Right. So what's your first one on your list? You said you got a whole list of them.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Sorry.
Let's go. No, you're good. I'm ready. I feel like I was like, are you about to like quiz me? Like, are we like Mike on a game show? Like, do I need to like study before I come up?
Right. And no, I mean, mostly because we hear things here and there about all these different cases. So none of these are like super out of the box. There may be a few that you don't know much about, but it's not me like going into depth. It's more just like talking on a certain part of it or something. So like for instance, I always want to keep bringing up the Maddie Kingsbury case. Obviously, you guys know I'm close to Katie, Maddie's best friend, and there's not really other than Maddie's parents were able to get custody of the kids, so Adam lost his rights, which is good because up to this point, he was going to be allowed visitation if he made bail, which is crazy to me. And I'm trying to think of what else. They were supposed to have a court date last week or the week before, but it got moved to the end of September. So there's not very many updates, but everything's kind of working in the right direction. So that's good. Let us see. What's the next one? Idaho. So I don't want to touch too much on Idaho because I don't want to get into speculation and such about it. And let me see.
No speculation about Idaho? All right. Well, this is going to be short. Let's go.
Well, more along the lines of I'd rather just kind of get your opinion on the new filings. So obviously Koberger and Taylor, they have put out the, why is my chat not updating?
I don't know. I think something's up with you. You seem a little slow to me. Like you're like groggy, like your voice is kind of cutty, but not a lot. I don't know about for chat. Is chat not, I don't know if chat's. Yeah, my chat's going fine on StreamYard.
Now it is.
Okay, and now you sound fine.
Yeah, hey,
so I don't know if you just had like a.
Okay, I can see Sleuth Mom now.
Okay.
Hey, Kate.
Chat is closed.
Yeah. Hey, Richie. Hey, Alibi.
Oh, it said service not available for a few minutes. Oh, interesting.
That's gotta be. My chat is completely screwed. It keeps going blank and not posting my comments. I see you, Allie. Hey, Tomboy Charm. Okay, I think it's kicking back up now. Because now I'm starting to see everything. Hey, Webweaver. Something that has to either do with StreamYard or YouTube, because I've been seeing that a lot lately on lots of channels. But, okay. So, with the Idaho, we know that Ann Taylor put in the dismissal of the grand jury indictment.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
She wants a preliminary hearing. So she wants to be able to fight the evidence. She wants to be able to fight the evidence before it's actually allowed in. With the grand jury, she's not going to be able to do that. So now that everything's already in, and if Jen Lewis here, she's like, they would indict a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or whatever she always says, so she doesn't want that. She wants to be able to fight it, and she wants to be able to cross-examine people, which is her whole point on her whole alibi crap too. Sorry, I don't mean crap. I think Ann Taylor is actually a very good lawyer, and I think that I'm actually happy that she's representing Brian, oddly, because when he loses, it won't be because he had incompetent counsel.
Right. Because that there has been a handful of incompetent counsel in recent cases that we have followed.
Okay.
Can you guys hear Dexter now? He's like, look at him. Can you guys see him? He's laying on his back.
Yeah, he is. He's like, oh, look at me. I come.
You good? Drive me nuts.
But I think the whole purpose behind it is that she wants a preliminary hearing, and she's most likely not going to get it, but she's doing her due diligence to be able to put forth the best defense that she possibly can. They were supposed to provide an alibi and then cop out at the last minute, basically saying, we're going to provide one basically like via cross-examination.
Or whatever,
when somebody screws up, we're going to say, yeah, that's his alibi. Like, if you have an alibi,
wouldn't you just want to give it?
Well, you would, so that they're waiting for exculpatory evidence to become his alibi.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine, but why make the big old production about it to begin with when you don't actually have an alibi?
Right. And that's the thing too, is because I asked this, I think it was on Twitter yesterday. I had said something like, why would you not want to put out your alibi to begin with? Because wouldn't that stop a lot of the BS? Like, if you have this alibi,
you wouldn't be in jail anymore. You just go home and go on with your life. No, we're going to wait.
Well, that's my point of what is the reasoning why someone would not want to put their alibi in as soon as it's available? Like, if you have an alibi, it should be available immediately because it's your alibi. It was either you were there or you weren't. And
no, she's literally going to wait until somebody either screws up on the stand, which happens, or she's going to wait until somebody says they didn't see him, and it's like, see, he wasn't there. And I'm shortening that by a lot because that's going to take that's going to take a lot longer during trial. So my question is who thinks that there's actually going to be a trial in October? We're still stuck here.
Well, and too, I was watching Alex Erickson, everyone. Go follow her. She's great. And she brought up the whole fact of I had asked, does this push back the timeline of things? And if he wants to go into having a preliminary at this point, that there would have to be some type of give and take of whether or not he gives up his right to a speedy trial or not. Because if he wants a prelim, then the time frame between now and when everything's supposed to happen is so small that it would be hard to get a preliminary in there. So it's a give or take, because otherwise it's going to have to be something where it's in 2 weeks that the preliminary is, and then the trial would still potentially start.
I think she's okay with that because he waived his right to a speedy preliminary hearing. He did not waive his right to a speedy trial. So,
okay.
And I'd have to double check, so please don't take this and run with it. That he waives his speedy preliminary hearing, and then from the preliminary, if he gets the preliminary hearing, there's a set amount of time from the prelim to the trial without waiving the speedy trial. So wouldn't that just automatically push back the trial without waiving the speedy trial?
I don't know, because there's still that set time frame.
Right.
When the speedy trial has to be within.
Right. But if he does the prelim, then wouldn't it just have a certain amount of time from that point to the next one?
I guess that could be. Yeah. Well, I wonder too.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't know. So technically though, if they end up going, if this gets passed, this, whatever she put in, wouldn't
So
that
she
mean
wants to waive the results of the grand jury based on
Right.
the grand jury instructions. So she's saying that there's an error in the instruction that was given to the grand jury. So how they voted is irrelevant, and they should go back and have
a preliminary
hearing instead. But
so technically that time clock then would start again once there's a potential of a guilty via preliminary hearing. Would be the start
the
time
judge
frame.
determines that there was enough evidence to move forward.
Right.
That's my thought process.
That.
I am not 100% sure that that's the case, but that's what I believe the case to be.
That makes sense. I hadn't thought about it that way before. Yeah, I guess, because technically right now the time clock is based on his grand jury indictment. So if that gets thrown out, then potentially the clock would then go to if they say there's enough evidence. So you're right, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to do some digging into.
I hope so. But the thing is I think I'd be okay with either, just because, and that's me in a selfish way. I want more information.
You're going to get the information in the trial. So whatever was delivered to the grand jury is most likely going to become part of the trial. Not every piece has to, which we saw in Alex Murdaugh, but we're going to get the information. And if we go with a preliminary hearing, and this is the only reason I do not want the judge to rule in favor of that, is because if it does push it out, now we're okay. So this is just my piece on cases that are like Idaho for it. What happens is we put these gag orders in place. The public wants answers. Human nature is to create an answer in void of an answer. So we come up with our own conclusions. Our own conclusions are based on our own mental health and status and our own life experiences, and we put that into what we believe the answer to be. Now, as YouTube content creators, what that leads us to do is speculate and conspire, I guess, or create conspiracy theories.
Conspiracize.
That are not necessarily quote unquote conspiracies all the time. It's what our brains are feeding in to fill the gaps that we don't have. Right. And without going to trial, once this goes to trial, that won't necessarily stop, which we've seen so many times, but it will cut down tremendously on the garbage that's being fed to the public via mainstream media, which we know lies. So I'm not even going to go there. And YouTube creators that are trying to fill in all these blanks on things.
Right. Or making up their own fillers.
Yes, exactly. So let's go to trial. I'm ready. Like, let's do it. Let's get it over with. Get this guy convicted, or as some would say, not convicted because he's a patsy, which my personal opinion, he is not a patsy. And I think that those people are going to have their fill when the truth and when all the evidence is lined out and a jury comes back guilty. But that's just me.
Yeah.
So I'm saying let's just go to trial. Skip all the garbage. There's zero reason for us to go have a preliminary hearing at this point. We have a grand jury for a reason. They opted into the grand jury, and the grand jury indicted. Here we are. Let's go.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's kind of where I'm like this or that. Like, I wouldn't be totally upset if we end up getting a prelim. But then I'm also like, let's skip that and go. Like, I'm kind of on both sides of it.
But then we wait years. We wait years for justice for these babies.
Right. So, okay.
I mean, they're still babies to me. I mean, they were, 19, 20 years old. I mean, we're waiting. That's what happens is now justice, what do they say? The wheels of justice turn slowly. And it's like, we have a case right now where it's actually not turning very slowly. It's bada bing, bada boom. And I do believe my gut says he will end up waiving his right to a speedy trial because they know they won't be ready. And we're going to end up with a trial in 2024 regardless. I would be very surprised if we end up with a trial in October.
Yeah, I could see that. It's one of those things where I hate waiting.
Well, yeah, I think we all do.
And so for me, I'm just like, ugh. I just want it to get everything out there and like just go through everything, especially because I still till this day, like when I go and watch other lives and stuff like that, um and they're just like, I really hope that they have more information, and I really hope that there's so much more evidence. And I'm like, well, we have to, I always say, go back to the original prelim scheduling stuff where the prosecution had asked for 6 full days to present their evidence, and they were awarded 4, but they claimed to have 6 full days of evidence to show during this prelim. Yeah. And so we have heard maybe 10 minutes of the potential of actual proof of what's out there. And it's like, there's so much, especially because even if we look at all of the search warrants and stuff like that, everything that has come back or that was asked for has so much information in it. So even just a little nugget of that is going to play like a huge role.
Well, you also have to remember that there's 4 victims. Mm-hmm. So there's one full crime scene. Then there's the secondary scenes, which is, there's actually quite a few, because you've got the search of his parents' house, the search of his apartment, the search of the car. But we have 4 victims that were located in 4 different places. They have to go through each one of those situations.
Right.
So it's not, we don't have one victim that was killed and disposed of and that's it. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's a lot of evidence. And I don't mean that the entire house has a ton of evidence. You still have to separate each of those individual people to make a case, because this isn't like he walked in and killed all 4. They have to show he walked in and he killed Maddie. Yep. He killed Kaylee. He killed Xander. He killed Ethan.
Each is its own individual charge.
Right. So they have to present evidence to support each of those charges. That's not going to be a quick thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one that I know me and you talk about, and I watch very closely.
I watch a lot of Idaho 4 stuff and do not cover it.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of where I'm sitting too with everything, is I'm taking it all in, but I'm very much over the talking about every little aspect that comes in, because it's just nothing can be proven as fact, and everything is speculation. Even us going over our thoughts of what this could potentially mean or something like that is all speculation. And although it's fun to put speculation between us, it's not fun to put it out onto a public platform.
It's very hard to watch every single piece of submission, every motion being read in this case, and then interpreted however that person wants to interpret it, when most of these filings are happening in every single case. Mm-hmm. I mean, they may be different. They may be, state, specific, but I'm just saying, like, in general, this is the court process. And and the court process fascinates me. So, I mean, I'm fine. I pay attention to a lot of court documents in general, but it's very strange to watch so many, like, a new document comes out. How many, if you Google, or if you went on YouTube right now and in your search bar put like new docs in the Idaho 4 case.
Right.
How many lives do you think you're going to get? Like, what about new docs in, Chad Dorman's case? There's docs that come out in that. Like, I cover that case. How come not every single person covers that? And I know that there are creators that do, so don't get me wrong. But, or there was, new docs in Quentin Simon's case. How many creators covered it?
Well, right. And I think that's one thing that I've told you that I want to be very open with on my channel, is that I don't want to be doing the hot button cases all the time. But at the same time, like, Idaho is one that I have covered, I've looked into, I have watched everything. And it's something that, like, when big things happen, if there is a prelim or when the trial does come, like, that's something I'm covering because I'm interested. But it's not something that I'm going to come on here live and be like, hey,
I can't make it my entire life. I just can't do it.
Right. And so that's kind of where I'm sitting with it too. But
We'll be, yeah. Do you mean 1,000 videos analyzing the Linda Lane video is enough? Finally? Well, and that's another thing is there's things like that happen. And I'll tell you, I got 3 videos sent to my inbox of the Linda Lane footage. And I was like, well, this is interesting, and I put it out there, and then that's pretty much how it is. So here it is for you guys to see what I see. And then why did that come out? Then that becomes like a whole nother thing. And then I'm down a whole rabbit hole of like, who was talking to Sleuthy about it, and then who ends up on, Drunk Turkey Show, and then I know you did, Allie, and that's why I love you so much. But it's like, yeah, I follow the case all the way through, but it's like, I don't know.
yeah,
so you end up down these rabbit holes that literally, does this change the outcome of this case?
right.
I don't know.
Well,
if I went through every single day and I read to you Chad Dorman's paperwork that was being filed, would you guys want to listen to that every single day?
No, and I will say I think a lot of the fascination with every single filing has to do with the gag order. Because it's when we get an official filing, it ends up being like one of the only
ways to get information.
That's true. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think it's not as
fair.
Like as pertinent to like all these other cases, because we have a lot of the surrounding information that allows for that. But I don't know.
So okay, so are you pro gag order or against the gag order? And people in chat, you too. Do you think that there should be a gag order in this case?
Hang on.
Oh, you're gonna do a poll? Okay, I'm gonna grab a soda. I'll be right back.
Okay.
And then I gotta sign into YouTube so I can vote.
Hey, Crime Sleuthin'. Great live yesterday. Oh my God. Hang on, guys. I'm trying to. All right. I threw it in there. Hey, everyone coming in. Welcome in. Hey, Riddler.
It's a soda, Sleuth Mom. It's a soda pop. It's a soda
pop.
Soda pop.
Hey, Libra Moon. Hey, ATS News.
All right, how's it going? I gotta sign into YouTube so I can see what's happening.
Half and half, pretty much.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the gag order is making the case really go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I do get it. But like then there's things like the 911 call that I do believe would have been released had there not been a gag order. I think that we would have had it probably end of last year, beginning of this year. But the gag order stopped it from happening.
Right. Hey, Crazy Mama. Hey, Brian. Sleuth Mom, don't make promises that I can't keep.
My poll is missing the both option.
Yeah. Sorry, Heather.
You don't like grand juries, Crime Sleuthin'?
Huh. Hey,
I always
David
wanted to be on a grand jury.
Hey, Chica. Yeah, I don't know. So let us see. Right now it's saying pro gag orders 57, anti-gag orders 43.
I'm anti-gag order, I think.
I don't even technically know what I am. Hey, Ara. Don't got tacos.
Ooh, tacos?
I don't got tacos.
No taco.
No taco. Okay. I'm going to just let the poll go for a little bit longer because I'm just curious.
They only get to see the state side. The defense is barred. In fact, they don't know until it's over.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the point. But that's kind of the point of the preliminary hearing, too, is to just show that the whole point of it is to show that there's enough evidence to move to a trial.
But don't they get to potentially fight it then and see what, like, fight the evidence, see if it's going to be able to come in or anything too?
Well, they're going to have evidentiary hearings regardless. So
Right.
they're going to have to go through and the judge is going to say yes, no, yes, no. There's going to be evidentiary hearings no matter what, because both sides have to present all the evidence to the judge before trial, and the judge has to say this can and this can't. The grand juries, and just like I said, it's I think a grand jury is obviously easier because it's easier to sway it without anybody paying attention to it. But there's not a jury that's in there for your preliminary hearing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get a prelim by jury. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just have to meet. The state just has to meet the burden to be able to move to trial. That's it. In either one.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to let the poll keep going a little bit longer. So let us touch on the next one on my list.
Okay.
Is Quentin Simon. The reason I want Quentin is because as of today, when I was looking everything up, I had not been able to find if the judge had ruled on anything regarding the dismissal of Leilani's charges. Have you?
No, they haven't yet.
And I wanted to hear your thoughts on that, because I've heard a lot of people saying this should have been an absolute hell no. And the fact that it's been like over a week is starting to like freak people out.
Well, here's the problem. One, the judge has to do due diligence to be able to say yes or no. If he just said no, then now she doesn't have a fair trial, which we don't want that either. As much as I don't like her at all, you have to make sure that the process is correct. Otherwise, that's when we sit here and we end up with all the appeals, and then we're pissed off. And now there's 20,000 other conspiracies on politics and government and who's involved in what. So the state has to be able to say that she did it, right? That she actually killed him,
right?
Now, that's a tough one on any case where you don't have a cause of death. And if you watch trials, then that's one of the things that typically when they're going through and picking their jury, a lot of the prosecutors will specifically ask, like, do you as a person need to know how the person died to believe that they were murdered? Okay, I can see that. And most of the time, no, it's inference, which is okay. Right. So we're going to go back. I'll go back to some. You have circumstantial evidence and you have direct evidence, and people get slightly confused on what that actually means. And direct evidence is somebody caught it on camera, an eyewitness. Anything that I directly can see. If I put it in front of a jury, the jury can directly see for themselves that this happened. And eyewitnesses are actually crap anyway, but that's besides the point for this. Circumstantial evidence is everything else. It's everything that has to be created or that has to be used to create a timeline and a story that connects all the points from A to Z. And if a prosecutor can do their job, what they do is they put those pieces together and they show us that this person is the person who has this type of history. This person is the one who was there. This person is the one responsible for the care of or for, whatever was happening with that person at the time. This person's DNA, XYZ is there. It's everything that leads up to it. They do not have a cause of death for Quentin. They can't. And the documents tell us why. Because of everything she did to hide him. But that doesn't mean she didn't kill him. But what attorneys are saying is, hey, you can't prove I killed him. So what are you going to do? So, and they have to have enough to say, well, we believe you killed him because of XYZ. And then the jury has to be able to infer that circumstantial evidence means she did it.
So then, do you think the evidence that they did find in the house of the blood and stuff like that would then potentially be used.
There's something that, hold on real quick, I have a tiny human.
You're good. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, can you ask me that one more time?
I forgot what I asked, if I'm being honest.
Oh, evidence in the house.
Yeah.
They have something, and I'd have to go back and look at all the documents because this I don't remember off the top of my head, but there was a reason that they believed that she caused blunt force trauma at the beginning of this whole thing. So do they have something like, some type of DNA on an object, or, and like I said, I don't remember all the circumstances. I have a lot of cases that sit in my head, so it's hard to remember all the details, but I know that they said that they had found something in the house that would prove that she did it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also do believe that Danny, the boyfriend, the daughter, the youngest baby's dad, I do think that he has some info and was probably given some type of immunity to testify.
Right.
So I think that they have enough to infer it, but they have to be able to prove that. And what her attorney's doing, once again, is their job, and saying, hey, you know what, you guys don't have enough, and pushing back and fighting. And now we're going to have to see there, this is a push for the prosecution to have to lay out their cards a little bit more and say, hey, this is what we have, and we do have enough, and we're good.
Right. Okay. So you're not as nervous as like the people that I've seen. It's more of just it's taking time to make sure everything's laid out. Do you think that they have a potential for winning the dismissal?
No, I don't.
Okay. That makes sense.
Because once again, these things are, all they have to be able to do is show enough to be able to put it in front of a jury.
Right.
The judge isn't making the ultimate decision saying, yeah, you've proven it beyond a reasonable doubt that she did this. The judge isn't making that decision. The jury has to make that decision. So the judge has to make a decision saying, you do have enough for a jury to be able to decide. Now, if they didn't have enough for a jury to be able to decide, I don't know how we would already be here. That's kind of where I'm at with that.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. All right. Well, that was kind of really the only update on Quentin. I was just curious about your thoughts because.
Well, bottom line too is they have her putting him in a dumpster, so they have her on disposing of human remains.
Right. So she's gonna get something regardless. But
yeah, I mean, there's no way. I just don't. She's not going home. So bottom line is, what are they actually going to get her for? And then they also have the right to be able to change, what they're charging her with, from first to second to, manslaughter to whatever. They have rights to be able to change that on the charging documents based on what evidence they believe they have and what evidence the judge is going to allow into court. I mean, if you look at, if you back up to like Barry Morphew, that's really where things were. Is the judge after the preliminary hearing was like, I don't know if you have enough to convince a jury, but we're going to let it go forward. And then when they had gone through all the evidence and the judge was like, nope, this isn't allowed. Nope, that person can't testify, so on and so forth. They knew they didn't have enough, and that's why they dropped the charges.
Right. Okay. I'm just glad that you know how to like explain this for me in a way that like I don't need to know every little detail of something, and I still understand what you're saying.
Okay, that's
which
good.
Is nice.
I feel like sometimes I'm confusing.
Yeah. No, I understood that the whole time, which is great. Okay. So the next one was the Alicia Navarro being found. So I was actually, I saw it and I immediately called T because I was like, oh my gosh. So for some reason in my mind had thought that me and Teresa had talked about it previously.
I think we did. And I didn't remember her name. Sometimes I need the face, and as soon as I see the face, I'm like, yeah, that's what it is.
Right. And so let me see, because I have
Heather Brett says I have to dumb it down for her. But Heather Brett, your brain might not be cooperating today, but if you watch this tomorrow, I'm sure that you'll totally get it because you're very intelligent. I hope that I don't know how else to really say what I said.
Right.
I love Quentin Simon. He's one of those two that just he got me, man. I was wrapped immediately when I saw his little face. I was just in love with that little kid.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, this is crazy.
It is. Well, and this was one of those where I was like, I remember when she went, I remember having her picture like plastered everywhere. So
okay, before we keep going, Alicia Navarro. To know, is chat cutting, or are you cutting out for chat, or are you just cutting out for me?
Yo no sé. What do you guys think? Am I cutting out for you or just Teresa? Hey, Christina.
Okay, no, you are cutting. Me. Am I cutting out too? Now, what you might want to do if it continues being, you might have to turn your camera off, because sometimes when my internet's slower, the camera pulls so much.
Okay.
And see if that.
I'm going to turn it off for now, switch over to my computer, and then
let's just see if it works.
I'll pull back up. Okay, hang on.
All right, I got control of the show, guys. What are we going to do? Woo-woo! Riddler, that is a scary fact. That is every 40 seconds a child goes missing or is abducted in the United States. Approximately 840,000 children are reported missing each year. And some of them on their own. Some of them, I mean, that statistic is very rounded of kids that wander off and they're reported missing too. And and they come back immediately. But that is still an immense amount of scary.
Okay. Is that better?
Yep. Sounds perfect.
Okay. Like I said, it was just because my camera's on my phone because the camera on my computer sucks. Just let me know, guys. Put a 1 in chat if it sounds better. I know T does, but I can only trust T with so much.
That's true.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, they're saying you sound better.
Okay, cool. Sweetness. All right. Okay, so Alicia Navarro. I remember when she went missing. I remember because she had left a note for her family stating that she was really sorry and that she would be coming back. And but one of the big things too about this whole story was that she was on the spectrum, the autism spectrum. So a lot of people were nervous that someone had potentially taken advantage of like her vulnerability and like coerced her into leaving. So it was always weird. So she was 5 days from turning 15 when she ran away. And then it was earlier this week. She showed up at a police station in Montana. She is now 18. She'll be 19 in September. And there's so much weirdness to this story that I just don't understand. I've heard lots of different things. I was watching a live stream saying that potentially neighbors saw someone arrested, but then other people, like the police, are saying like no one's been arrested. There was lots of other women potentially in this house that she was in, but then she's been very adamant that like she was never hurt. She was never kept there. She had free will and free reign.
The problem is that she wasn't of age to make the decision to leave. So if there's an adult, there will be charges. There's just no ifs or buts about that to me. And if there isn't, then I'm going to be extremely disappointed in Arizona. But she ran away of her own volition, so that she probably went there and was not being held. I mean, I know I was reading yesterday that they've interviewed quite a few people involved, and some people believe that they've actually seen her like out and about. But she was not of the mental age to be able to make those decisions on her own. And if there is an adult that's involved in this, which I don't know how there couldn't be.
Right.
Then that person is making decisions for her when they don't have the right to do that. And that is kidnapping. Just because she's not held against her will, I mean, you'd have to go with definitions of different laws per, I'd have to go into Arizona and look at what they would define it as. But it is, I mean, it is illegal. I can't just go and keep, my daughter's friend because she doesn't want to be at home. And then, her parents are like reporting her missing, and I'm just like, like, oh, it's fine, nobody cares. Like, I can't do that.
Well, and not only that, but it's also it has to do too with going over state lines, because that is kind of how, like, in general, when someone goes over state lines is how the FBI can get involved and everything along those lines, which makes it into more of a federal crime. And that's taking a minor across state lines without parental consent as well, let alone.
Well, if she hopped on a bus on her own and went there, or a train or whatever, then
right.
Still, it's whoever's been providing for this person for all of this time. And I know it's a weird question, and I think I asked you this when we were talking about it. The picture when she goes missing is supposedly one of the last pictures that she had taken of her, and she had braces.
Yeah.
Like, did she did she have braces when she was found? I mean, like, that's such a weird. Who's taking her to an orthodontist? What's happening with that? Well, does she graduate high school? Did she even finish high school?
Right.
Those are all things that this adult is going to be held responsible for.
Well, right. And I think too. Oh, I'm hearing a little bit of an echo. Nope, you're good. Okay. Because I also was listening to another live, because that's kind of what I've been doing lately, is just kind of popping around and listening to lots of other people's thoughts, because I can't seem to get my thoughts together on what I think exactly about all of this going on. But was the fact that you can potentially Google how to get braces off, and it has to do with like dissolving the specific adhesive that's used on braces, which shouldn't be a thing. But my point is like, it doesn't necessarily mean that she went and got. Either way, it's bad and it shouldn't have happened. And at that point, it's like, I don't know. But I don't know.
You have the video where she walks into the police station. I think there's two of them.
Hang on.
Do you have those by chance?
I can have them.
Somebody asked in chat.
Okay.
Crazy Mama, she went missing 5 days before she turned 15, so she was technically 14.
Yep.
And she went missing in 2019, so she would be 19 in September of this year.
Yep. Okay, let me see.
Well, and I know, like, obviously, like, somebody could physically take them off, but I'm just thinking, like, these are all things that I think of when I'm thinking, like, that somebody has to do something for this kid. She's not living on the streets in Montana.
Right.
Well, she's saying nobody hurt her. She wasn't working. She doesn't have a job.
And let us see. So we have, I'm trying to see which ones of these have the actual footage of it.
Right, Corey? I mean, yeah, she's 18 right now. She's not even 19 yet. She's still a kid. And there's a reason that she walks into a police station and she says, hey, I'm Alicia Navarro, and I want to go home, or I want to let people know here I am. Like, what happened that changed her mind to get her to do that?
Right. Okay, let me see. I found this one. All right.
And if it comes out that she actually is autistic, which I've heard that she is, but I don't know 100% that she is.
Right.
But if it comes out, now you've got somebody who's taking advantage of somebody with a disability.
Right. Okay.
I don't know how. Once again, I don't know how on the spectrum I don't know all the details to that. So
I don't know if that's ever actually come out. I have the phone call short uploaded. Oh, okay, cool. Hang on.
I know her mom did a video just basically, which is crazy that she did it the day that they found her. She She found out an hour before the mainstream media did that her daughter had walked into this police station, and her mom did a video just like thanking everybody for all the love, and it was very overwhelming. And she hadn't even seen her yet, and I don't know if at this point they have seen each other, because she was basically saying like, I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it's weird that she chose to do it. What made that happen now?
Right. I think someone in chat had said, did her abductors make her go in and say something? Like, was there something that ended up, like, what was the thing that was a specific catalyst for her going into this police station?
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, the whole thing is bizarre. And somebody said her mom did say she was autistic, but once again, I know that it's called a spectrum for a reason. So I don't know where she falls on that, or if that will play into it. She turned 18 last September.
Yes. Yep.
She's been 18 for a while. She's almost 19.
Yeah. Okay. Let's watch this. This is from Arizona News Station. I'm going to kind of scrub through it, but they are going to talk about, they'll show the newest picture, which when I showed this, so I sent this picture to Teresa, and I was so confused because the newest picture of her literally looks like a picture of her from before. And she's supposedly 18 in this picture. So it was one of those where I didn't understand how she didn't change looks wise. Hey, Ramblin' Ron. And just there's no difference. And someone had said like she looks malnourished and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know necessarily if I think she looks malnourished, but
she's a tiny person in general.
Yeah.
She's not very big. She just doesn't look like she aged very much.
Yes, and that's the thing. So let's watch this for a second. I'll probably pause it in between. Who knows? We'll see. But I do know that they play this call here that you guys are seeing on the screen. So we'll watch a little bit of this.
Continues in the case of Alicia Navarro after going missing from her Glendale home almost 4 years ago, 14 years old. She surprisingly showed up safe at a Montana police department yesterday.
Yeah, while some details remain a mystery, Glendale police released 2 short video clips. We took those clips to a former FBI agent who specializes in child victims, and he says something stuck out to him right away. Let's get over to Brianna Whitney now with the analysis. Brianna.
Yeah, so this is a fascinating interview. He has so much to say. He has so much experience dealing with child victims. And I asked him, is there a chance a crime was not committed here and Alicia Navarro was living on her own after running away for 4 years? He said, yes, that is possible, but not probable. He suspects there is much more at play here based on everything we know so far.
Did anybody hurt you in any way?
No, no one hurt me.
Short video clips of now 18-year-old Alicia Navarro at the center of this mystery. What happened to her for the last 4 years?
She's a minor at the time she disappeared. So if somebody was taking advantage of her, she's not in a position to give consent.
Jim Eggleston is a former FBI agent who spent years working with victims, especially child victims of human trafficking. While we don't know what exactly happened to Alicia back in 2019 or where she went, we do know she left a note for her mom saying she was sorry for running away. At the time, her mother said she had autism. Nobody heard from Alicia again until she walked into a police department in Havre, Montana this week by herself, a small town nearly 1,400 miles away.
I think one of the keys to unraveling what happened to her and holding whoever may have been with her responsible is the investigators are going to have to spend time and develop trust and rapport with her over a series of contacts and interviews.
I asked Eggleston if anything seemed out of the ordinary about Alicia in these clips.
No, our goal is we just want to make sure that you're safe.
I don't I understand that.
He says it's less about her demeanor and more about the words she was saying.
So regardless of whether...
Okay, I'm going to stop that right there because I'm not going to lie. Her mannerisms are making me very uncomfortable, and I don't know if, like, the first thing that comes to my mind is drugs, but not like that she's a druggie. More like is whoever's keeping her, getting her hooked on something to potentially keep her there, because she does not seem, the way that her eyes stay closed long when she blinks and she's not able to like make complete sentences. Like, it was very much making me uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Like, possibly being drugged.
Yeah, I feel off. Like, she definitely she's off. But then there's also being 18, talking to police officers is never a comfortable situation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that could also play into it. Like, this is weird. Or she is let go with the, hey, you better not say anything that happened, or there's going to be issues. Yeah. We have no clue. This could go so many directions at this point that I don't know.
Right. I'll just say, like, the first time I saw this, I don't even know if I heard like the actual audio the first time I saw this. I think I just saw her talking, and I was somewhere, so I couldn't see, or I couldn't hear, but I could see. And I remember being like, I don't know. That's true.
I also have the question that she hasn't gone back to Arizona. She hasn't gone back to her family. So we're on day 4. Where's she staying?
Right.
Did she go back to wherever she was staying in Montana? Is she staying with the cops? I don't know. I don't know if that's come out or not.
Right. Yeah, that's true, Heather. Yeah, and I mean, you're right. It could be a symptom of autism as well. Yeah, but like we said, we don't know where on the spectrum she is. So you're right. But it's just one of those things where it's like, it feels to me off, but it also feels to me like she's also purposefully not saying specific things. Now, whether that's because she's been told not to, whether that's been because she's threatened not to, and so on. But like, I don't know, and it's just uncomfortable.
I agree.
Oh, okay. Sleuth Mom said, "Oh God,
that's a very good point. She can't get anything without with being on the missing persons list, so she needs to do something. But here's the thing: so since she is 18, she's technically an adult now. But would they let her go back to the people who were potentially committing a crime against her? I mean, she's an adult, so yes, no, I don't know.
Well, and then you also have to take into account everything, because if there's potentially someone that helped her get across state lines and so on, taking without parental consent, then you also have to take into account what type of relationship she had with this person, because then we're going to have statutory issues as well. And if it was more of a romantic relationship of some kind. And so there's a lot to it that, unfortunately, which I mean, I don't know if it's unfortunately or fortunately, but she's 18 now. So it's hard. Sinaloa tacos. No, the police said no, she can't go back to wherever she came from. Okay. But how could they say that? Where, like, how could they tell her at, like, she's 18 now, so how does she have that, like, how would she not have that choice? Hey, little Boston. That's something I'd love to know more on, because I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how that would
something
work.
to pay attention to see
how this plays out. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
I mean, I'm so happy that she's okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, ultimately, like, she's alive, and her mom, knows that she's okay.
Right. Well, let us finish this video, and then we will move on to the next case.
Whether or not she's been diagnosed with autism, what strikes me is what I saw in many of the victims that I helped recover when I was working those cases. And that is, they often don't recognize that they are a victim. It used to be referred to as Stockholm Syndrome. Now it's called trauma bonding.
Thank you very much for talking with us.
Of course. Thank you for offering help to me.
Eggleston says while it's a miracle Alicia is alive and safe, he believes the investigation will reveal that a crime was committed and that Alicia may have experienced trauma no child should have to go through.
I don't see how this is likely without some other person being involved. And if another person was involved, you have to question their motives, of course.
Even though Alicia is now 18 years old and an adult, Eggleston says charges can still be filed in this case depending on what investigators uncover. Alicia's family's private investigator told us today her mom is very happy and overwhelmed with everything, and that she and Alicia have been able to speak over video chat, but there's still a lot to piece together here, guys.
I know they mentioned autism, and if that's not involved here, I can't imagine as a parent watching this interaction. Because it makes you wonder what happened.
It's concerning.
Yeah, you have so many questions. So I got to ask you, is there any idea from that FBI agent what could be the most difficult part of this investigation?
So I think right now the question is, how long was she in that small Montana town? We don't know if she had been living there for some time. And if she was living there for some time, it'd be easier to piece together things. You can track down people to interview. You can piece together her life a little bit.
That was a good point. It'll be very interesting to see if she was actually there the whole time, because I didn't even think about that. What if she was potentially still in Arizona until up to 6 months ago? I mean, we don't even know that.
No, we don't know anything.
And that's so crazy to think about. Well, right. Crime Time with Mal, because she literally does not look any different.
Her face is longer.
Yeah, but I mean, like, compared to, like, the pictures, like, there's been a handful of people who have been found later on where I don't think they necessarily look like their younger selves, or like the images that are created for, like, the future images or whatever.
I don't think I would have recognized her.
Really?
Like, if I saw her, if I was standing next to her, like, in a store, like, I don't think I would have.
Oh. See, and I feel like I would have been like, well, I think I would have recognized her, but I don't necessarily know if I would have been like, oh, Alicia Navarro.
You would have been like, oh, she kind of looks like that chick that, that girl that went missing years ago.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think that many people would. Well, one, not everybody even follows missing persons cases, so they have no idea who the heck is missing in their own area, much less somebody who is missing somewhere else and ends up in their area.
Right. Oh, okay. So there was a couple that I wanted to touch on. So one thing that I just wanted to throw out there, the other night, I was watching Sleuth Mom. Shout out to Sleuth Mom. And there was an Amber Alert that went out in Burlington, Iowa, which obviously, if you guys don't know, I'm from Minnesota, so that's just south of me. And
Sleuth Mom does a great job always making sure that anybody who's missing, for 5 minutes, she's got them plastered everywhere.
Yeah. And she happened to go live right when I saw the Amber Alert. And, well, actually it was sent to me. It was either, which one of you guys was it? Nora's grandma or Mo? One of you guys sent it to me. For Cadence Roberts. And she was marked as missing, obviously, for the Amber Alert. It said possible abduction, but there was no car, no person. And the next day they did end up finding her. So the Amber Alert was, it was Nora's grandma. The Amber Alert was canceled. And there's a lot more to it too, I think, there's been a lot of things in the Facebook groups and stuff like that regarding, she was found, but is she really safe? Like, what's going on? But good thing is as of right now, she is not missing and she is safe. So I know I'd put that out on Twitter about her Amber Alert, and I just kind of wanted to update people regarding that. I'm trying to think of what else we have. I have everything pulled up down here. What do we want to touch on? Do we want to touch on Tupac?
We can do Tupac. I was going to make a video on the Tupac stuff, so I'll do Tupac. That's good. Okay.
Let us see. Share my screen. So
slightly longer than 5 minutes. I don't know, Sleuth Mom. 5 minutes. Once it's out there, you're like, I'm on it.
Yeah. Well, and that was one thing where I was just like, Sleuth Mom, I sent you something. And she was like, got it. And it was like immediately up. And I was like, she rocks. If one of my mods could throw Sleuth Mom's link in the chat, that'd be great too, please. Okay. So, obviously, this is Tupac. He was...
Obviously. Anybody who doesn't know who Tupac is, raise your hand because we need to talk.
And then raise your hand in chats because we can't see your actual hand. But he was murdered in Vegas. We're not going to get into conspiracies of whether or not he was actually murdered.
Wait, we can't even talk about if he's still alive or not? Hanging out with Elvis?
Right. Yeah, no. But was it last week? July 26th.
Your friend Karen's is raising her hand. You don't know who Tupac is? I would play some of his music, but YouTube got really pissed at me for playing Britney Spears. So.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I don't know what they'd do if I played Tupac.
Oh no.
Oh, it's not my channel. You can do it.
Yeah. Thanks. That's what I'm going for. I would be put right on the chopping block. Oh, really, Sleuth Mom? Interesting. Sleuth Mom said Elvis died 3 years ago, T. He got the big C.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Which one? There's two. The more recent C or the C that's always been around?
Are you talking about like old school C?
I think we can say cancer
now.
I think I was thinking, are you saying cancer or are you saying the new C, the one that we can't say?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the old C.
Like what? The clap?
Like, wait a minute. I don't even know Nora's grandma. I don't even know what we're talking about.
Whatever Sleuth Mom said Elvis died from. Like crabs? Question mark? See you next Tuesday. Damn, what the hell was Elvis doing 3 years ago? Okay. Anyways, back to the topic at hand. They have reopened Tupac's murder investigation, and they served a search warrant recently. Let me grab this. So it says, police in Las Vegas searched a home connected to Dwayne Keith Davis, who has long been a central figure in the case.
That's Keith D. That's who it is.
I know. I just love when... Oh, man.
Oh, that's the 19. That's the C19. Oh, the new C.
Oh.
I was going with I was going with Nora's grandma. That's what I thought you guys meant, like the old C.
I don't know Nora's grandma. I mean, yeah. Okay, so it says Tupac's murder has remained a mystery for the better part of 3 decades. Despite the repeated public assertions of a man who says he was in the car from which gunshots rang out and killed the rapper who was a passenger in another vehicle. I actually pause on me reading this. I saw a TikTok the other day about the conspiracy theories regarding Tupac and how, when and where. Someone says we have an echo. Do we?
Try it now.
Try it now. Anything? Nora's grandma? Yes, as in, yes, there's still an echo, or yes, I'm good. Okay. About how, where this happened and everything, like, and no one heard anything, that the whole thing was just obviously conspiracy. Plus the fact that he put out so many albums after he was already dead. And everything.
That's because there's a ton of music. That's what musicians do. They have a ton of music, and then it's either not completed or not. What do they call? And I'm not a musician. So, but they go in and they do all the sound that goes around it with the song when they're recording it. and that's not done. So they go and they take these older songs and they fix them and finish them, and or splice them up and put them into new music. And
Yeah.
it's unheard of. I mean, authors do the same thing.
Right. That's true. Sinaloa tacos. That is true. Hey, Avery. So it says, despite widespread interest and speculation, the case went cold with few public announcements about its status until last week. When the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department reopened the investigation. As part of the investigation, authorities...
Okay, Mel, were you alive when Tupac died?
What year did he die?
96.
Yes, I was. Thank you very much.
I'm just making sure.
I was a full 2 years old.
Oh, God. I was graduating high school.
Well, I might have.
Tupac was a huge thing for me. Because I was a huge Tupac fan.
What month?
He died in September of 96.
Oh, I was only 1.
So in the summer of 96, there was a fight between. So
Yep.
Back in the day, the Bloods and the Crips were a really big thing. They still are, but I mean, it's not really what it used to be. And so there was a huge fight over a death row medallion.
Yep.
That actually took place at a mall, very close to where I live.
Yeah.
So there was this big fight about this medallion. The medallion was taken, and when they all went to this fight in September in Vegas, the guys it was taken from saw the person who took it at the fight. So they went over and started a huge brawl and basically beat the shit out of the guy. So he goes and gets his uncle, and they come back. And so Tupac and his entourage had gone. They were actually doing a gig that night after the fight. So they went home, went back to their hotel, got all cleaned up, and they were coming back to do the gig. And the car saw them, and the car with Orlando and Keith D, and they turned around and basically went up and started shooting it up. The huge thing that had to do with this was that at that time there was the huge rivalry between Biggie Smalls and Tupac.
Yes. Yep.
So and so then you had, I don't even know what his, I think he was still Puff Daddy at the time, because now he's Diddy or whatever the hell his name is. Yeah, I don't even know what he is anymore. So and that was Biggie Smalls' best friend. So these guys have it's always been said that Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, wanted, basically had put out a hit on Suge Knight and Tupac because of this rivalry. And this is before P. Diddy was even like a big thing. Like he was basically like a lackey of Biggie Smalls. That's all he was until Biggie was actually killed. Then he became big because then he was kind of next in line. So they turn around and they shoot up the car, obviously killing Tupac and wounding Suge Knight. And Suge Knight's not a good dude to begin with. So I mean, like,
I watched a documentary on Suge Knight of all the hits that he's put out too, allegedly, and no, very scary. But
so then
go ahead.
Okay, so then these guys get away, and they get away from prosecution, but nobody's ever, people have always known that this is who was involved in this.
Yeah.
There's just never been the evidence to actually take it to court. So like the players that they're talking about in these recent search warrants are not new. Yes. They're not new people to like the story. This has been what everybody has thought happened. Well, so the guy they beat the crap out of for stealing the death row medal, or medallion, he actually sues Tupac.
Okay.
And tries to,
after he's been shot?
Yeah. He's suing Death Row Records.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so what ends up happening then is they actually win, and then he gets killed.
The guy that was beat up that originally sued Tupac, or
that was suing Death Row Records, because he had been beat up. He wins in court and then he is killed.
Okay.
So the shooter of Tupac is believed to have been him, and he is dead.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now then there comes the how dare you try to sue Death Row,
right?
And then win, and then that's when Biggie gets killed.
Okay. Because I was always under the impression that it was like one person's entourage killing the other person's entourage.
It is.
It is?
It is. But that's what it is. You have Biggie and you have Tupac.
Yeah.
Bloods and Crips, like that. So you have those two rivalries, but it starts out with the lower end guys, not the high end guys that just didn't like each other. And basically what they would do at that point was just rap to each other about how much they didn't like the other one. And then but you couldn't go into the same places that if you walked in and say you're a Blood and you walk in and there's Crips there, like you can't be there. Like, and if you're going to try to stay there, then you're going to fight. Like that's the bottom line behind, like you either walk away and go a different direction and go find somewhere else to hang out. And then you have territory. So that's a whole nother thing. But then you have like public domain, you had to leave.
Right. Huh.
So that's what ends up happening. So that's how, so it is. So Biggie's people that were under Biggie kill Tupac and try to kill Suge Knight.
Yep.
Then they turn around and they kill Biggie.
Okay. So
does that make sense? Bottom line is that is how it is, but it's the lower level players that were actually starting this whole thing that ended up getting these two magnificent artists killed. Even though they did it themselves too because they were living this lifestyle. But
right.
So the search warrant was actually on the uncle's wife's house.
Okay.
That she still lives in, that he lived in back in the day. And they were looking for evidence to say, hey, he was connected to his nephew, and it was him who was driving and went and killed Tupac and tried to kill Suge Knight.
Okay, so it says the man who has made a public statements about being in the car from which somebody fired upon Tupac. According to the affidavit, which was reviewed by People, evidence obtained by authorities included an iPhone, a desktop computer, 4 laptops, a handful of tablets, several with shattered screens, one in a pink case, a copy of the book Compton Street Legends, which was co-written by Davis, an issue of Vibe magazine about Tupac, along with 2 black tubs of photographs and what authorities allege was purported marijuana. So what are they hoping to find then?
Any evidence that supports the fact that they actually did kill him. They can't do anything about it at this point, really, because once again, the guy who everybody has pointed to pulling the trigger isn't alive anymore.
So, but couldn't he still potentially be charged as being like an accessory to murder? Because they technically said they reopened his murder case.
They say they reopened it. I mean, it's never been closed. It was just a cold case. It's never been solved. It's never been.
Okay, case will be cold.
Yeah.
Reopened the investigation. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that basically all they're trying to do is just close the case. So they need the physical evidence that says, yes, this is true. And this guy came forward many, many years ago saying, hey, my nephew was a part of this.
Okay. So it's more of just they're trying to get everything out there so that the entirety of it could go on record now.
Right. That just needs to, so they can actually close the case and have it done and say, this is the evidence that does prove that these were the players, this was the driver, this was the shooter, and we're done. Everybody knows that these are the people who did it.
Right. Okay.
For many, many years, there's never been a question that these were the players.
Okay.
This isn't like new people. That's why I just want to make sure people understand that. Like, this is not new. Yeah. They're just trying to close the case.
Chica422 said there's a journal, isn't there?
There should be that they found There should be, but I don't know what they actually have.
Huh.
Heather Bratt. I got my 90s rap down.
Yeah, I'm impressed actually. And I was actually like listening to every single word that you said and was like, okay, I knew that part. I didn't know that part. And I was like going back and forth. Mostly because of the conspiracies around it is what got me into it. But obviously I have listened to Tupac and Biggie, but like not to the extent that you did.
Well, they tell you, just go with the simplest answer and you're pretty much going to find it. Now, I don't know the people who actually went and shot Biggie. I don't know that. I don't know if that's ever been brought out. I was more a Tupac fan than I was a Biggie fan, but I love both their music.
Was Suge the one that put the hit out on Biggie then?
Death Row Records, and then that, which was Suge's, yes. So
okay,
that's like saying that Sean Combs is the one who put the hit out on Tupac. I don't know if you're ever going to get there.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're ever going to be able to prove this conspiracy because you're talking, back in, nobody's got cell phones from back in the 90s. I guess maybe somebody does, but.
Right.
Huh. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? So I don't know if you're ever going to get that far, but that's the gist of what happened is that it all started because these two didn't like each other. West Coast, East Coast, Bloods, Crips, and it was over a medallion that was taken at a mall.
That's so cool.
And that's why both of these guys are dead.
Interesting. Okay. I
don't know how Suge survived as long as he did, to be honest with you.
Is he dead now?
No.
Oh.
He was, let me see what he ended up getting. Hold on.
Okay.
He just went on trial not that long ago, a couple years maybe.
Yeah. He's in prison, isn't he? Chica Fortune said?
Yeah, he's in prison. 28-year sentence for deadly incident at Tam's Burgers in Compton, California.
I remember
that claimed the life of. I just remember him being on trial, but I was never a fan of Suge Knight. He's always been a piece of crap, in my opinion.
And that was Teresa saying that in case anyone comes after us.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, the guy doesn't have a very good history of just being a good person.
Yeah.
But this was all about loyalty. That's what it was. That's what the whole mentality of these gangs is and was. It's about the loyalty behind, your people, and it, at every single cost. Like it didn't matter the cost, and that's
Crazed at 5 said, sorry to throw another name out there, but Master P was rumored to been killed while in a hospital room also, and was doing well and suddenly deceased after a visit in kind of these circles early on, I think.
He was. I don't know his story as much, so I don't want to speak too much on it because that would be more speculation of what I think I know than versus what I know.
Yeah. Thank you, Julie. Okay. So how many of you guys, Teresa also, have heard about these remains found in 3 separate suitcases down in Florida? Have you guys read into this at all?
I've heard of it. I do not know a ton about it. I know they did a press conference that I haven't watched.
Okay.
So, and I had heard speculation that these are are they coming from like overseas? I don't even know if that's true. That's just what I heard.
So let us see. I'll kind of give.
You're gonna have to fill me more in on that. I don't know much.
Yes, so I'll read through this one a little bit more.
She was telling me about the cases that she wanted to talk about. She's like, I want to talk about the suitcase case in Florida. I'm like, which one? That's just sad that there's so many.
Right. Not Sarah Boone. Okay. Yeah, right. Okay, so it says a woman was murdered with remains found in 3 separate suitcases, but police don't know who she is. So this is another reason why I wanted to make sure that we brought this up today.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought it was different people.
Uh-uh.
Oh.
And so there's different aspects in this, but they did do like a drawing here. So this is what they think she was wearing and what she looked like. They don't know who she is, but I wanted to make sure that we shared the photo so that way you guys can see it. You guys can share it around.
All right,
and
wait a minute. I got issues with this.
because it looks like she's wearing biker shorts that are like new. So that's why. Why? Wait, why?
Well, my issue is how in the world did they come across all 3 suitcases that happen to contain the remains of one person? And do you understand what I mean? Like, what are the chances? Like, oh,
they all were in the same area.
I know. Like, what are the chances? Like, oh, we found all 3 suitcases. I don't know. That just seems weird to me.
Yeah, it's so. We'll.
All right, you tell me, and then yeah, let's go through it.
You're good. So this is the composite of what they said they claim she looks like. This is the outfit that she's supposedly wearing. It says police in South Florida recovered 3 suitcases containing what they believe to be the remains of a woman from the Intracoastal Waterway in Delray Beach last Friday. What is an Intracoastal Waterway in Delray Beach? Anyone? Any of my Florida
Isn't
people?
that like the little water that comes in?
Meaning, is it like something that's like not into the ocean? It's more of like a waterway that's just landlocked type of situation.
Like the ocean runs in and it has like the little strips that go into the land. Isn't that what that is? Well, I'm looking it up.
Okay. It's like a river or a canal. Okay, thank you, Riddler. It's good to see you, by the way.
Something like that.
Heather Brad, are you talking about me and Teresa?
What'd she say?
She said Dumb and Dumber.
Hey, we're trying here. We're trying.
Okay, like little rivers. Okay. I don't think she was talking about us, but
I know.
Oh, they were asked what the movie quote was from. Yeah, right, Corey? I know. Okay, so it says, according to a recent press release, the woman's identity is still unknown. The Delray Beach Police Department said they received a 911 call about a suspicious item in the water along the Intracoastal Waterway shortly after 4 p.m. on July 21st, per a CBS report. The first suitcase contained human remains, officer said, and so did the 2 other pieces of luggage that police recovered from nearby locations soon after. On Wednesday afternoon, DPPD shared an updated release about the homicide investigation, including a reconstructed image of what the victim may have looked like, rendered by the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office Forensic Imaging Unit. Police described the woman, who they believe was killed between July 17th and July 20th, as being between 35 and 55 years old and about 5 foot 4 inches tall, as reported by CBS. So this is something very recent. It sounds like she was literally killed within the last few weeks, dismembered, and then put in suitcases and thrown into the waterway.
They found her right away.
Yeah, they did. And that's why I wonder if they're putting those pictures out in this specific area too, because they're thinking that potentially like the day that it was found is the day that it was in, you know? Let's see. It says the artist-generated portrait shows what the victim may have looked like before she was slain, and also includes a full-body sketch that best depicts the clothing she was wearing when police found her, the release stated. In an updated version of the release, DPPD described the woman as white or Hispanic with possible brown hair and tattooed eyebrows. That's a unique characteristic. The full-body sketch portrays the woman in a floral off-the-shoulder top and black shorts that land mid-thigh. Police said the brand of the victim's shirt is Betsabe, which they said they believe is a Brazilian company. It is important for the public to know that these reconstructed images are not an exact likeness of the victim or her clothing and are simply the interpretation of the artist, DPPD added to their release. In addition to the artist-generated pictures, police released photos of two of the 3 suitcases they recovered from the Intracoastal Waterway. They described the first as a purple Palm Springs Ricardo Beverly Hills bag, and the second as a green and black polka dot Charlie Sport bag. So here's some. Mom, are you watching?
Does she have that suitcase?
Because, yeah, we have it in green. Mom. Oh, I can hear her listening to me. Yeah, we have that in green. So that's exciting. And then here is the polka dot one.
What the fudge?
I know.
These are her suitcases.
You think?
Well, I would assume. Like, they're not. They don't look like a dude's suitcases.
Well, that's true. Don't listen, Mom. Right? Jane Doe.
Thank you, Riddler.
An intracoastal waterway usually provides a navigatable. Yeah? What?
Don't scream at your mom like that.
She said, yeah. Without any of the hazards of traveling on the open sea. Okay, that's interesting. They call that polka dot. Well, yeah, there's polka dots all over it. Heather? Mom, I know you're listening. So Angel's Live Control says, hi, Mallory's mom.
Okay, so I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Is this person from Brazil? Is that what they're saying about the clothing?
They haven't said that. They're just trying to get her, like, completely identified. So it says DPPD is currently asking for help identifying the woman and are also asking anybody who lives along the intracoastal waterway to review their personal owned video surveillance cameras during the specified time frame. Anybody with information regarding the case are urged to contact Detective Mike Liberta at 561-243-7874.
At Chica, they're saying that she died between the 17th and the 20th, and they got a call on the 21st about the suitcase. And then they found the other two suitcases not far away. So yeah, they're saying that it's relatively recent, but they're saying that her top is from Brazil. Not to say that she couldn't be a traveler. I'm not saying that.
Right. But it's just weird. Obviously, because they found her. Hey, Rainbow Mom. Sorry.
Well, crazy Mama. I mean, that's what I'm saying. She could have traveled there, but I guess my question is she from there? That's not a clothing brand is it sold in Florida? I guess that would be my next question. Because it's made in Brazil doesn't mean it's not sold here, obviously, but
right.
I've never heard of that brand.
She is pretty, Corey. Hopefully they can match dental records. Yeah, hopefully.
But that's what I'm saying. She's actually from Brazil and came here.
Right. Mara's grandma, that's my mom. My mom's name is Karen. I know. Yeah, I don't know. And it's just, I think at this point, obviously there's a crime here because she's found in many different suitcases.
Well, yeah, I mean, she didn't do that to herself. No.
Well, yeah.
Somebody absolutely had malicious intent when they put her in those suitcases. Without a doubt.
Yeah. Right. And that's what we do here. We cover malicious intent. We don't have malicious intent, but we cover it.
Yeah, this is interesting. I thought they found different women.
Yeah, no, it was all her. Now, there was, I believe, another suitcase case in Texas, if I remember correctly. Oh, cool, Inspector Gadget. I know, Heather Bratt. Where's Jen Lou when you need her? No malicious. But yeah, I wanted to make sure that we showed this. If you guys are in South Florida, recognize her, send it around if you are down there to people around you. See if anyone else can recognize her. And I'll obviously keep updated with all of this. But it was
she'd need a passport to come into Florida, right?
Yeah.
Well, I hope I hope they're checking that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, so they said, I'm trying to think. Yeah, right? Yeah, prayers for her, absolutely.
It's also sad because if it was so quick, then there's people who might not even know she's actually missing.
Right. And I mean, we don't know if she lives there, if she was traveling there.
Right.
So at this point, it could be the type of thing, too, where she was on vacation or traveling here for work or something like that. And this all happened and her family is back in Brazil or something.
Right.
Which is even worse because then it's not going to obviously get the same kind of coverage. That's true. If she did travel here with a passport, not only that, but they hopefully would be able to see the luggage too, if that was her.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I don't know. Luggage stock is at an all-time high, right? Seal. Hey, Seal, by the way. Good to see you. Hey, my three sons. I think they were showing it with two potentials. My three sons says, why did they make her hairstyle so uneven? I think one side was showing her with longer hair and one side was trying to show her with shorter hair. That way she could be recognized either one.
Or that's how her hair kind of was when she was found.
True. Yeah, especially if we've been knowing that.
She wasn't. She wasn't completely decomposed.
Right.
So.
That's with the time frame is that she would, even within the time frame of the 17th, they found her on the 21st. So that's still only what? Geez, math. 4 days.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. There's a lot of potential to that. And I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye out on everything, and I'll keep.
Do you have is there a press conference?
Hang on, let me see.
Okay, I thought I saw that there was a press conference, but I hadn't watched it. So.
Gosh, type in "woman in suitcase" in Florida. Yeah, the amount of things that come up.
Yeah, where's the third suitcase, Snooper? Right? Where is the? Why do they show us two of the three?
Right. Okay, here we go.
Maybe that's like their, you know, how they always try to keep like information that they're like only the killer will know, so that way if they come forward, because sometimes there's the weird people who like to come forward and say they did this kind of stuff that they didn't actually do.
Right. Well, right. That's kind of coming up now. I'm going to segue just a second before we watch this into like the JonBenet Ramsey stuff with him, the guy that came out now saying it was him. But when you actually look into it, there's a lot that actually ties it to him, it possibly actually being him.
Okay, so this we can talk about that for just a second.
Okay.
This guy is not new. Once again, that guy is not a new person.
He was one of the
he's done it for many years, and the cops have said it is not him. They have completely ruled him out. And the guy he was writing letters to was like on Dr. Phil or Dr. Oz or one of those years ago.
Huh.
So it's like weird to me that it's now out again that this guy is the.
See,
like how does that come full circle that now we're talking about this guy again?
Something else came out recently, and they said that they were looking into something that his original thing was like something about where he originally was his original alibi was overturned or something recently.
He didn't have. He said he did it. He said from the get-go that he did it. He wrote. So he had the friend of his that he told that he did it. That guy calls into the cops. That guy stops talking to him over the whole thing. But then they start writing letters again. And this is all from memory from whether it was Dr. Phil or Dr. Oz, one of those. He starts writing this guy letters and he's admitting everything. And the guy gives the letters to the doctor show that he's on and says, like, here's all the letters. And he talks about, like, he has a huge fascination with JonBenet, but that's why they think he continues to try to confess, is because he is so infatuated with her story.
Right. Huh.
That's because there are weird people who want. JonBenet's case is famous.
Yeah.
The person who killed JonBenet will be famous. This guy's already in prison. So I just
do you think it's something where it's just coming up again? Like,
I don't know why. I don't pay attention to why it's coming up again. So there could be a reason, but there's nothing about like it can't be about an alibi because the guy has always said that he did it. He said from the time it happened that he did it to his friend.
Yeah, Aaron said he was 13 houses away. Okay. Interesting.
So, in my opinion, he's not the guy. I don't, but you
Yeah.
know what? I also believe that Boulder Police Department did a completely shitty job on even doing anything with that investigation. So will we ever know? I don't know. But if they really thought he was the guy, that would be a really easy thing to just say, okay, yeah, you're the guy. Look, we found the guy who did it. Yay.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's dumb of them to rule somebody out when they actually could just close the case.
Right. That makes sense.
It just doesn't add up to me. It doesn't sit right with me. I don't. Even the guy he was writing to at one point said he didn't believe him. He didn't believe that he actually did it. You'll have to go find the old episode. Or I'll find it and send it to you.
Yeah, please do, because I want to read more on it. I've only seen like the headlines of it. So, okay, so here's the presser for the woman's remains found. It's about 10 minutes, but we will pause it in between or if we hear anything come up. So here we go.
Casey, C-A-S-E-Y, Kelly, K-E-L-L-Y. Delray Beach Police Chief Russ Major.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Chief Russ Major. I'm the chief of the Delray Beach Police Department, and we are asking for the public's assistance in a recent homicide that occurred last week. On July 21st, we were called to the 1000 block of Palm Trail in the Intracoastal Waterway where somebody is reporting a suitcase with what was believed to be the human remains hanging outside the suitcase floating within the Intracoastal Waterway. Officers and detectives responded and were able to corroborate that it was in fact human remains that were protruding from this particular suitcase. Within a few hours of this particular call, we had received 2 other calls regarding other suitcases that were floating just south of this location. There were 2 other suitcases found within a few hours of the original call. We were able to determine that the remains within this suitcase, the 2 suitcases, were actually human remains as well. And all 3 suitcases were deemed to be the same person, the same victim as the original suitcase that was found. We contacted the medical examiner's office and they came out to assist with the investigation, and they're also doing the autopsy on this particular case. If you have any information that relates to this investigation, we would appreciate your assistance and feedback. No information is too small. We're requesting help from the community and anyone that may have information in this case. I'm now going to introduce Sergeant Casey Kelly, who is the investigator, the lead supervisor on this case, and he'll be providing the details and answering any questions that you all may have as it relates to this investigation.
Thank you, Chief. I'm just going to elaborate a little bit on the investigation. We're estimating our female victim is somewhere between 35 and 55 years of age. She is either Caucasian or Latin American. She's roughly 5'4" with brown hair and may have tattooed eyebrows. She was found wearing a floral tank top, pictured beside me, with a black camisole shirt underneath and black shorts. The brand of the floral top is Betsabe, which is unique, we believe, and from what we can tell is a Brazilian company. Based on the victim's condition, we believe the time frame in which she was put into the water to be between Monday, July 17th, and the early morning hours of Thursday, July 20th. We're asking for the public's help with reviewing video surveillance cameras during that time frame. We ask that you specifically look for unusual vehicles or people, and certainly anyone carrying or moving luggage. The area of interest is between the Linton Boulevard Bridge and the north end Delray Beach city limits along the Intercoastal Waterway. Detective Michael Liberta is the lead investigator for this case, and all tips and information should be directed to his phone line, which I'm going to provide. 561-243-7874. Again, 561-243-7874. I will open the floor up for any questions. Just understand that the case is very sensitive, so I will be limited in my responses.
Is there a
pausing it here because I do want to hear the questions. But I wanted to answer Sinaloa's tacos, which, am I saying that right? Sinaloa? Sounds beautiful. But I don't know if I'm saying it right. Said, are we sure if she was traveling, moving, or homeless? No. We don't even know. She could potentially be living there, for all we know. We have no idea. Hey, Tamara. Thanks. Right, Chica, exactly. Huh. All right.
It's Sinaloa.
Sinaloa. I am saying it right. Why are you covering your mouth laughing?
Sinaloa.
Yeah. Okay.
Pretty sure that's the name of a cartel.
Is it?
I don't know.
Do they have good tacos?
But they have tacos. So
that's what I was going to say.
I'm good with it because I do like a good taco.
Yeah, I mean, it is making me, after I finish this live, want to go get Taco Bell. So, Mom, just be ready. We're going to go get Taco Bell after this. Rainbow Mom, do you mean like that they were hers, or that they connected that it was her in all of the suitcases? Because they've done that. It's the same woman in all suitcases.
See, Rainbow Mom was under the same assumption I was. I thought it was different women in different suitcases, and like they all just kind of showed up.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh, awesome. It is still kind of sounds pretty though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I told you it was.
Ignorance is bliss, and it sounds pretty, and it made me want tacos.
I like it. And now we're all gonna have tacos.
Yes. As far as it being said, guys, I think originally they didn't know. They found 3 suitcases with what they said was 3 separate people. And then I think once they ended up doing all the DNA testing and stuff, like it came up to being all 3 of the same person. And I think that's kind of why, because I think at first they just said 3 different suitcases found with 3 different human remains. It is interesting to hear that the one suitcase was not open. I wonder if was open.
Well, that might be the one that somebody found and called in, right? Like that's the original one that they were like, hey, we found a suitcase with human remains.
Well, yeah, they said it was hanging out of the suitcase in the waterway. And that's what I wonder if that's the one that they're not showing, because there's potential for stuff on the outside of it. Because we were asking why they didn't show all 3 suitcases.
Well, that's another question I had was, do they have all of her, or is there a 4th suitcase that's missing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
That sounds like they might have all of her.
Because they're not saying, you'd think that they'd say like, be on the lookout for another suitcase if you're in this area or something like that, if they didn't. Right?
Well, I don't know.
Okay, let's hear some of these questions and see if it answers any of ours.
A missing person that would match that description.
We are certainly looking into that, but we have not discovered that as of yet.
What is your reaction to somebody finding suitcases with human remains?
It's certainly troubling, but we're looking into, the investigation is very early in its stages.
Is there a reward offered?
Not as of yet.
Are you considering offering a reward?
We're considering all things.
How was the woman killed?
That's a sensitive case information that I won't answer at this point.
Were all the parts of her body found in the 3 suitcases, or was anything missing?
We have determined that all the parts that we have are of one victim, but I won't answer specifics on which parts we have or which ones
there you go.
were found in which cases.
This is quite gruesome.
They don't know. They aren't going to answer us. Well, they know. They're not going to tell us.
I want to say, though, by the way that he answered it, I almost feel like they don't have all of the pieces. Because why wouldn't he have just said, yes, we have the entire body?
Yeah, no, he didn't. He was not confident in that answer at all.
He said, and that's the thing is, I wonder if it's literally because, so I remember specifically, there was a case up here in Minneapolis of a guy who was dismembered, and the person was leaving his body parts in different places around the cities to the point where like his head was found just sitting on a city bench. His leg was found in like an open yard a few miles away. And it was like crazy, but they came out and said like one thigh was found here, his head was found here, and different things like that. But they were very like specific about what was found, but it was smaller parts of the full body. But it was one of those things where it was like every few days they'd find another body part of this one person. And that's kind of what I'm just curious about, if there's more to it, if something needs to be found, or like, that's the thing, is it's like, why would you not be saying, hey guys, if you guys see a suitcase in this area, don't let your kids go open it. Like, wouldn't there be some good to like saying, hey guys, just be careful for what's out there at this point? Hey Aries, how are you feeling?
Yeah, that's interesting.
What?
That they don't have all that they're not saying they have all of her parts, and they're not saying that there's like something to worry about.
Right. And that's the thing too. They also asked at the beginning here, do we know how she was killed? And he says, I'm not going to go into that. Or her cause of death or whatever.
Jeez. Okay.
So it's like, right, Seal? Seal said, what happened to money being in suitcases, right? You going and finding a suitcase full of money on the river's edge. Now it's instead you find a freaking leg. Ridiculous. Carlee is 18. Okay. Okay. Let's keep listening, see if they answer anything else.
Certainly. I would agree with you.
Of a woman's body found in 3 separate suitcases. It's very gruesome.
I would agree with you.
And so, any thoughts on or any warnings out to the public as to maybe someone could be out there who did this?
So from what we can tell, we believe it to be an isolated incident. And that's the gist of what I can provide at this point.
Are you also asking for the public's help, and maybe if their loved one hasn't answered the phone, or there's got to be someone missing?
Certainly. So we've put out a press release with the initial information on social media, and we did provide a tip line, which again is Detective Liberta's number. So we have received information over the weekend, but we're looking into every single lead.
Is there a thought that this would involve human trafficking, drugs, or domestic violence?
We don't have anything that would indicate either of those just yet.
Color of her hair?
Sorry.
Any surveillance video cameras that you've been able to glean in terms of getting some information on what's going on through that?
So the stretch of waterway is very large, and that's part of why we're meeting today and asking for the public's help to review some of that. We have started that, but it's a very daunting task. So we're asking for the public to do some of that legwork for us, and to please call in anything that they would find unusual on the video surveillance during the time frame that we gave.
Okay. So my next thought when he says the gist of this is it possible, hey the snooper, that she potentially died of something that's not necessarily foul play, and they just got rid of her to not get in trouble type of thing, like an overdose or something like that, where someone could still potentially get in trouble for obviously mutilation of a body, but like that it wasn't necessarily murder?
Well, yeah. Well, they're not even giving us that.
Right.
We don't know if they would release cause of death. So I mean, they don't want us to know. It's an isolated incident. Well, I'm sorry, but I hate when they do this, because like if it's
Idaho was an isolated incident.
You hope it is?
Idaho was, according to the cops. at the beginning.
Yeah, I hate that terminology. How do you sit there and say we don't have any idea what the hell happened, but we believe it's isolated?
Right.
I don't like it.
We
I don't
know
like when
who
they
she
do that
is,
either.
but
This
it's
is a
isolated.
targeted attack. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So they targeted, but now the world is safe because the targets are gone? Yeah, I don't think so. Because if that was the case, you wouldn't have lied about the roommates in Idaho. So I'm just saying, like, it just doesn't make any sense. If you don't have any idea if this is drug related, if this was, domestic violence, you don't have any idea the motive behind it. You can't tell us that it's isolated. You know that you got somebody out there who's dumping body parts. Sorry.
Yeah. That has the ability to freaking cut someone up. Like, that's not something that you should just be like, isolated incident. Don't worry, it's not going to happen to you. If someone has that ability to
do that crap because they don't want the public to freak out. It's the same reason the public gets lied to by mainstream media all the time. They want
Right.
the narrative to be bought however they want to sell it. Sorry, if you don't have any answers for us, we're not going to believe you that it's isolated.
Yeah. Yeah, unless you say this happened, and this is how she died, and it was accidental, and this and that, or something like that. I mean, but even at that point, it doesn't matter how she died because there's still someone out in that area that has the ability within themselves to cut someone up. Right.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's still not good behavior.
Right, Sleuth Mom? Don't
Yeah,
panic. Everything is fine. All right.
Okay, so
that's
I have
kind
to
of
ask the question: if you guys come across a suitcase that's out in the public in any capacity, would you open it?
Yes. But I
know you would. I know you would.
Oh. See, but I'm also the one that when I'm driving by lakes and stuff, like especially up north, I'm like scanning the shoreline and like, it's one of those things that because I'm just so interested in it and I'm interested in not only like the kind of stories that we cover, but also the everything about it. I mean, as you guys know or may not know, I have my master's in forensic psychology, my bachelor's in criminal justice, my bachelor's in psychology. So this type of stuff is like
you need to make an overlay that just says that, so you can just be like, boom, here's the overlay. This is what I've got.
Just take a picture of me holding all of my degrees and put it as my profile picture on here.
There you go.
Angie
says, Mallory, do you want to find a dead body? I want to know which one of you guys is going to open it. I try to move it and feel how heavy it is first.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily that I'll say it this way. It's not that I'm like, ooh, I hope I do. It's more of I could personally handle it and it not like be traumatic as it would be for just a normal person, where I'd hope it would be me versus a 10-year-old that's fishing or something like that. So it's like, for me, I'm like, I would want to be that person over someone else just so someone else doesn't have to go through that, because I know that I could potentially handle it, if that makes sense. That's true, Angels. Right, Sleuth Mom.
But the first on the scene is the first suspect. Mallory's like, I didn't do it, but I found a body in a suitcase.
And I'll tell you guys exactly how to solve it. Just kidding, guys.
Just play the recording. Beep.
If you guys want to follow this case, it'll be on my YouTube channel. Thank you very much. No, I don't think I can solve a case, but it is obviously what I want to do in the long run is cold cases and missing persons cases. So, ooh, Jersey, that's a good one. Jersey said I would open it an inch just to see if there's a smell.
Don't you think that it would already smell?
I guess it depends on how
long it's been there.
Well, that, but also the material of the suitcase too. Like if it's a really cheap suitcase, it'll seep through.
Hold on. Sleuth Mom heard a gunshot at 4:30 a.m. and freaked out. I thought for sure I was going to be the neighbor that never called the cops. My husband wouldn't let me.
Oh.
Did somebody get hurt, or was it just a?
Okay. Sinaloa Taco said during an open investigation, LE can't tell public cause of death. Right, Nora's grandma.
I've never been so scared of finding a suitcase.
Yeah, see? I've seen one covered on the side of the road after an accident. It took a while for my son and I to figure out how to deal with it. See, and Rainbow Mom, I think that's one of the reasons why I'm not against it, because I could handle it. And I'd rather it be me than, like, you know, someone else. Oh. Did see them leaving
a raccoon?
Oh, but she did see them leaving with the suitcase, though.
So they didn't dispose of the raccoon in a suitcase?
I will say, whenever I hear something suspicious, I obviously will call the cops if I think it's something, but a lot of the times I look directly at, like, the clock, and I'm like, okay, that was weird, but I don't think anything happened, but just in case something comes up, I saw this person in this car at this time. You know what I mean? Like, I do that all the time, or, like, it'll be, like, 11:23 at night, and I'll hear a big noise, but then I won't hear sirens or anything, and I'm just like, well, if someone comes and says, right around 11:20 last night this happened, I'm like, it was 11:23.
She's like, let me get my notebook out.
Yeah, but it's something that I've always done, where it's just something where I'm like, I need to, like, remember the specific time, or, like, if I see someone on the side of the road that's, like, hitchhiking or something like that, I'm not picking them up because I am in the true crime realm. Or they're not even hitchhiking, they're just walking, but they look, like, uncomfortable. I will always, like, be like, hey, that person's wearing this, this, and that. If someone comes up as someone, a runaway or a missing person, I saw this person at this time, and I'll, like, mark it in my head. It'll obviously just be someone walking from here to there and have nothing to do with it, but, like, it's just something that my mind automatically does. Hey, Ringo. Yeah, right, Nora's grandma? Don't be suspicious.
So I don't want to backtrack, but to go back to Idaho, back to the Idaho 4 case, did you guys see or hear that the Papa Rogers account is reactivated?
I was going to bring that up too, and then I forgot until you just said it. I got a notification from Reddit today that it was reactivated.
Yes. The Papa Rogers account is reactivated. The actual one from Facebook. It is up and running.
Interesting.
That's what I thought too.
Does that mean that it can't be Brian then because he's in jail? Or is does the police have the ability to reactivate something? I've never thought Papa Rogers was Brian.
I haven't either.
And I still don't. But,
I don't either.
Doesn't that kind of, like, maybe it's his lawyer? Hey, Wolfie.
Hey, Wolfie.
Who's Justin?
Justin's the one that...
Is this the person you told me about a long time ago?
Me or Wolfie?
You.
I'm sure we've talked about Justin.
Okay.
He's the one who had some not nice things to say about the other roommates, and just, yeah, he's kind of...
Okay. Girl, what?
Girl. Yeah, Justin is a hot mess express. I don't even know if I want to even get into all that, because then
I don't know. It is interesting though. It'll be interesting to see if they start commenting on stuff again.
Well, I also think it's interesting for all the huge tweeters or whatever they are now with the X.
I'm just gonna say tweeters.
The
Xers.
all the Xers. All the people who were adamant that Papa Roger was Brian.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see their reaction to this. Tablets in jail, I know that they
don't have Facebook.
They get access. I don't know, because if you... Okay, so not to go into a whole nother case, but if we talk about Taylor Business's husband, he was posting on Facebook.
Oh.
And then, but I don't know if it was actually him. And isn't it? And I don't follow her stuff on Facebook, so you guys would probably know better than me. Isn't it Jodi Arias who has the people who post for her on Facebook?
Oh, maybe. I don't follow her either. There was someone that was in love with her. Who was it that was saying, maybe it was Smokey P. Was he the one saying that he was going to send Jodi Arias things to her jail thing? If not, I love Smokey P, guys. Go follow Smokey P if it's not him, but either way, you should follow him. He's really funny. I love him. But
Alec Murdaugh gets to take like half naked photos.
Can we not bring that up? Like, I don't feel like throwing up. I showed it to my mom. I go, Mom,
Yeah, Ava, I
remember
agree.
Alec Murdaugh? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, look what this shit just pulled up. I was literally just scrolling on Twitter and it was like, bam, no trigger warning, no nothing. And I have never been more upset in a very long time. But not only that, but then you go into the commentary of what people were saying that he was taking these for. Like the freaking picture of him with his mouth open. Oh my goodness. Don't read the comments under those pictures.
But I know that they do have access to tablets, and I think Ava's right. Like it's not across the board on what they can and cannot do. It depends on the state, depends on the facilities. I do not believe that he would have access to Facebook, but I guess I guess it'll all come out. It doesn't make sense that somebody who is in his position would be like, oh yeah, I'm totally going to reactivate my Papa Rogers account and go on Facebook while I'm just hanging out here in jail waiting to present my alibi. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't go together.
Yeah.
And I've never thought it was him.
No.
And the account has always said it's a her. So, I mean, that's the other thing. That doesn't mean that it can't be a him, but it does say it's a her.
Yeah. Right. Crime sleuthing said, if I never see a shirtless Alec again, it'll be too soon.
All right. Now we're going to have to put it up on screen just for crime sleuthing so she has to see it again.
I am not going to be searching for those. Angels, actually, that after this one, that was what I was going to bring up next was Keegan Klein.
Oh, Keegan.
Yeah.
Keegan Klein, that little sicko.
So hang on, let's finish this and see if they have any more questions that we can answer. And yeah, I saw Heather saying something about this guy being hot, and he definitely is. So
this guy?
Yeah. Just saying.
All right, I'll have to retake a look here because I didn't see it. It didn't pop out to me. It's not like the guy who was
no, the guy that's on the screen right now, the investigator.
Yeah, he's not like the guy who was escorting Brian Koberger or anything.
See, I think he's cuter than the hot cop.
All right, let's go. Let's see.
Thistle. Hi, Thistle.
Hey, Thistle.
How was your day?
Oh my God, it's Teresa. I know her.
She does that to me all the time. Okay, let us keep watching this.
Michael, do you think he looks like Chad Michael Murray?
I could see it. His younger years.
No.
Yeah, in One Tree Hill, he definitely
could.
Yeah, he could.
All right, let's go. I'm play it so I want to see. I don't see it. Let me think. Let me see.
Sorry. And based on the current, could this person be from another county? Could it have floated there?
We wouldn't count that out, but we don't believe that she entered the waterway in another county necessarily, but I wouldn't discount that necessarily.
And do we have a color of her hair or any other distinguishing marks on her other than the tattooed eyebrows?
We think a light brown is our hair color.
How long is this?
Sorry, go ahead.
Is this?
Go ahead.
Can you tell us anything about who found the body? And one of those areas of heavily construction work is taking place there. Can you give us any information?
From the first call, I believe was a construction worker in the area that found the first suitcase. But outside of that, there were a few different locations, different people have found different cases.
You said a part of the human remains were sticking out of one of the suitcases? What part was sticking out?
I don't want to get into specifics about which part was found where or sticking out.
You said there's a long stretch from the Boulevard Bridge to the north end of the city. How long?
George Bush Boulevard Bridge. So there's Linton, Atlantic, and George Bush. So that's the stretch of waterway that we're looking at.
Between the Linton Bridge and the
George Bush Boulevard Bridge.
And how far is that? Is that a couple miles or half a mile, or do you know?
I would say roughly a mile.
Why do you think that's the area where the suitcases were placed in the water?
I didn't say that. I don't know where the suitcases were necessarily placed into the water. That's what we're looking into, and that's what we're asking the public's help for. I'm just telling you that that is the area that we'd like the public to focus on, because that is where we have recovered the remains.
Does the current of the waterway flow southward or northward?
Just based on some information that we got from the Coast Guard who assisted us, it could have gone in both directions at any point in our coastal.
Three more questions.
Could you explain the markings on the board there?
The markings are the first, the suitcases that we found on Friday. So one
You
is
can walk up to it.
certainly, okay. So just trying to orient myself here. This is going to be the Palm Trail, and this is the first suitcase. And then the second and third.
Wow. This is a great demonstration. Eye roll. This is on, I can send it to you, True Crime Karens. I can send you this link. I can send it to you on Messenger. All right. It's like, right here is where this is, right here. And this guy's looking, and it's just like, good one. No, never seen anything better. Hey, Lisa. Right. Oh, that guy does kind of look like Bruce Willis. A smaller version. Okay, sorry.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm still not getting any Chad Michael Murray vibes. I'll tell you that right now. That guy looks scared. Like he's scared to be up there.
Well, it's probably the first time that he's had to do this with a case that's like catching attention.
I don't know. I'm not feeling it. Like Crazy Mama said, he's not crackers in my bed eye though.
No, well, I mean, I've said I may need some vitamin D. Okay, let's finish this. I'm gonna scrub through it though. If they keep doing this presentation off to the left.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think they have anything else that they're gonna. They already told us whatever they're gonna tell us. So
okay, then we won't finish it, and then we can move on to Keegan.
Let's talk about little Keegan.
True. Oh, I don't know if that would be the right verbiage to utilize. Hang on. Where are we? So we have Keegan Klein. Keegan Klein became known during. Also, T, will you check your messenger too, just quick?
Yeah.
Before I keep going. Angels lie to keep control. And OMG, my dad told me to get some vitamin D. That was awkward. Yeah, crime sleuthin'. I am a big Harry Styles fan. Okay, so Keegan Klein. He became known during the Delphi case. What are your thoughts? Do you think he had something to do with Abby and Libby's case?
Shoot, I've gone back and forth, and this is another one of those cases because of lack of information that they wanted to give us through all those years that so many people just basically put their own thoughts into what actually happened. Do I think that he's obviously connected? Do I think he's actually connected to the crime? I don't know. I went back and forth. When they cut him the deal, I thought, okay, maybe he did know something and that led them to, here. And then, he decided not to take that deal, and then they postponed the court date and so on and so on. I've gone back and forth so many times without having some solid connection to the physical crime. I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know.
Yeah, I was always under the impression that when it came to Keegan, that there's, I'd say, not necessarily directly involved, but I always thought that there could have been a potential for him actually letting some type of ring utilize his accounts, or something along those lines, or him setting things up for others type of situation. But
and I think that's probably true, but is it true in this particular situation? I don't know.
Right. Either way,
I think they have the right guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. I think they have the right guy. I think that he's the one who did it, and I don't know how involved he is in this, ring of peas, but there's just, they've not put out enough for me to say, yes, he absolutely was involved and set this whole thing up. But then there's circumstances that happen around his case that make me go, wait a minute.
Yeah, right.
And his dad, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Betty Joe. Betty Joe, did you ever email me? I didn't get an email from you.
What does chat think? Do you guys think that Keegan was actually involved in the crime itself?
Sounds like poll time.
Sure does.
Was Keegan Klein, directly involved in Delphi? Yes or no? Ask my community. It's loading.
It makes it so broad to say it, because we know that he's connected to them based on the Anthony Shots account. We know that.
Yes.
Was he actually connected to the actual crime that day?
Okay. Betty Joe, my email is Mallory. Oh God. MalloryDoyle21@gmail.com. If that helps.
Angels lie. We can't do that on YouTube.
No.
Save that for the OnlyFans page.
Mm-hmm. That I don't have time for.
All right, what's the poll look like? Well, then let me go back to YouTube.
It looks like 72% said yes, 28% say no.
Interesting.
There's only 18 votes. Get it together. There's 128 of you in here. Hey, Thomas Mangard. Good to see
One
you.
that says, like, I have zero flipping clue, and I couldn't tell you. You have to put one of those in there, because that's where most of your votes would probably go. That's where I would vote.
Magical Intent is the sequel to Malicious Intent. That's true, Sleuth Mom. She blames the lack of tacos from the last poll. That's why no one's voting.
Yeah, they're like, wait a minute, you're going to promise us tacos and not deliver that.
If you guys remember, though, I didn't promise anything. It was Sleuth Mom who promised tacos.
Yeah, go to her channel for the tacos.
Yeah. Someone make sure to drop a Sleuth Mom's link in chat, too, please. Same with Crime Sleuthin'. Pretty pleased with my mods.
Heather Brat. She's not giving out tacos right now. You don't have to leave yet.
Yeah. Not now. Thank you, Nora's grandma.
All right, let's see. What's it at?
64% said yes, 36% say no.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. That's another trial that I'm ready for. And then, he had, Richard Allen had like the whole like sloppy looking, like he was like being so mistreated in jail. And then the whole thing comes out about like the visits with his attorneys. Like, was that a setup? And I don't know. Like that whole thing is just a mess too.
It is.
I'm ready for that trial to happen though.
Well, and the fact that now he has potentially even admitted to it.
Oh yeah, to his mom and to his wife.
Yeah, on the phone.
They want to throw that out.
Ugh.
When's his trial?
I don't know. Does anyone know?
I think it's January. I think it's January of 2024.
Sleuthmon
So,
said,
as of right now.
do you guys think he was trying to kill himself by starvation? I don't know.
Well, I think that the timing of when he supposedly was confessing to his wife, and it probably weighed on him because they say that there was no calls between them after that. But then there's also the fact that she does show up to court. So it's like, is she supporting? Is she not supporting? And then they sold the house. I don't know. There could have been like he was upset that he had disappointed her, and almost like a guilt, weighing on him. And I don't even know if it's the guilt of what he actually did versus the guilt of what he did to his wife
Family.
and kid.
Yeah. All right. And just because he doesn't have potential emotions towards doing something like that doesn't mean that he didn't love his family and can have feelings like that too. So, but either way, he got 43 years in prison for his crimes.
Little Kiki?
Yep. Keegan Klein.
Does he have an opportunity for parole?
Let us check. Multiple charges related to child exploitation. Will learn his punishment Thursday. Keegan Klein is scheduled to appear for a sentencing hearing in Miami County at 9 a.m. Is this week?
Yeah, so all they did was just update. This is an older article. They updated that he got 43 years, so that doesn't actually
3 years suspended. Let's see. Parted ways with his attorney.
Yeah, this is older. This is the older one.
I don't know. That I'm not quite sure. Does anyone in chat know?
I'm going to look it up real quick, too. Because I think this is the same article I saw.
Well, in Sinaloa Tacos, too, I think just the other day, what was it? Who was stabbed in prison the other day? Larry Nassar was just stabbed in prison. Did you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Stabbed multiple times in prison. He's the doctor for the gymnasts. A lot of them went to the Olympics that was abusing them. Ooh, Betty Jo, I got your email. I'll reply after we're done. But I got it, Betty Jo. Thank you. What, Teresa?
They didn't even kill him.
You sound disappointed.
Well, I'm just like, if you're going to do it, why would you do it half-assed?
Right. But that's one of those things where, crimes against children is not something that is looked at.
Did they do it for that reason, or they do it because he's a chump?
Yeah. Angels. Yeah, he got jailhouse justice, but I think that's going to end up being something that we hear more about when it comes to Keegan as well. So, all right. So we did the suitcase, we did Keegan. I technically had just the updates. I was following the Carlee Russell case very closely. We're not going to get too much into it just because the
She
case
doesn't
itself.
deserve it.
Correct. She's smiling in her mugshot, and
like a freaking high school yearbook photo.
Yeah. So if you guys didn't know, Carlee Russell was the woman who claimed that she was kidnapped off the side of the road after seeing a toddler. Turns out she had lied about it, and she was just arrested and charged with 2 misdemeanors and something else. What was it? 2 misdemeanors. I have the article up right here.
That's all I thought it was the 2 misdemeanors now.
Yeah. Okay. So 2 misdemeanors. After faking her own abduction, falsely reporting an incident, but she was immediately released on bail. But each of the punishments, even though they're misdemeanors, are punishable by up to 1 year in prison.
Yeah, she's going to get probation and community service.
But I do know that they are trying to get her on restitution as well for the resources that was utilized, right? Yeah. Yes.
I like the fancy cop, and he's like, you know what? I will let you guys know I will be fighting for different legislation. That this is crap. Yeah. And he's like, I was trying to charge her with anything I could, and this is all I could get. Like, I am not happy, and I'm going to do what I can to make sure if anybody pulls this shit again. She's going to be irrelevant.
Yeah. But I just wanted to
I don't even like talking about her, honestly, because it's exactly what she wanted. She wanted attention, and I do not want to give her any.
Well, and that's why I'm not going to bring up her picture or anything. But I just wanted. I know I covered it heavily, like on Twitter.
And I don't even feel bad for her parents anymore, and I did.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad for them.
But it was just one of those where I had talked about it a lot, and I hadn't talked about it on a live anywhere, so I wanted to make sure to touch on it and just say, like, she is being charged. So, yeah. Avery, you saw her in person, or what do you mean?
I don't know if I would want to see her in person.
Teresa would not be able to hold her cool.
No, I have some things to say to her.
Yeah. Okay, so I have two more things that I want to bring up. One of them is going to be a more controversial topic, which I'd asked you about. I want to do that one last. Okay. But the other one is bringing up the Henrietta case. So in Henrietta, Oklahoma.
Kate Does Crime?
Yes. Yep. I was going to bring up. So I shared on my community post. So Kate Does Crime did an interview with the grandmother / mother of some of the victims in the Henrietta, Oklahoma, Jesse McFadden tragedy. And it was a great interview. And so I just wanted to say there's not technically updates in the Henrietta case, but that I would ask that you guys go check that out if that was one of the cases that you guys were into, because she did a very, very good job at that interview. I know it's on, I had shared it in a community post. I will end up linking it under the video when I do the rest of my resources and references. But if one of my mods could drop Kate Does Crime's link, I can grab it too.
That was a tough one.
Yeah. Hang on. I'm going to see if I can grab it quick just because I know she was in here earlier.
Yeah. If you haven't gone to watch that and you know
followed the case,
yeah, you've got to watch that interview.
Absolutely. Let me see.
She was the mom was just so respectful and just so kind. I just was heartbroken for her. Avery said that she saw her at Walmart.
What was she buying? Was she buying Cheez-Its? Was she buying Cheez-Its? No way. Was she just chilling or was she incognito?
She should be banned from buying Cheez-Its.
That's nuts. Hang on. I'm getting share channel, copy link. Okay. Here.
I'm sleuthing.
Nora's grandma, you beat me to it. Okay, guys, there's the link to Kate Does Crime, and go check out her latest video. Like I said in the interview, it was very well done if you guys followed the Henrietta case at all. And yeah, you beat me, Nora's grandma. But yeah, it was very, very well done. So let me see. Go back to StreamYard. And all right. Trying to think. Do we go into the last one?
Do it. That's what people were bringing it up right at the beginning, but
I know. Okay, so I have said from the beginning of this channel, which was last week, that I am not going to be doing drama of any kind. And Now, with saying that, I don't think this is drama. I think this is an aspect of YouTube true crime that is important to be talked about. And I think if there's one person who has said it best is Sleuth Mom. She did a live today going over the lawsuit between Ryan Upchurch and Kylie Rodney's family. Kylie Rodney's family is suing Ryan Upchurch regarding his coverage on Kylie's case. And it is a civil suit. I believe it's libel, slander, something else.
Defamation?
Yes, defamation, claiming that her dad, Kylie Rodney's dad and grandfather had
maternal grandfather.
Yep.
I think that's got to be made very clear. It's the maternal grandfather.
Yeah. They lost money at the resort. They had to spend money to put security in because of all of the stuff. There was just a lot that had happened due to Ryan Upchurch's coverage of everything. And I think, like I said, Sleuth Mom said it best in her thing. So if my mods could also drop Sleuth Mom's link. She did it today on the one, obviously. But she very much said that this should be proof of you can't just say whatever you want on the internet. And also remembering that these are all real people. This is not just a story that we put out there and can speculate on and claim people do a certain crime. And these are real people's lives, and there's real consequences to going and just throwing speculation out there. That is dangerous, not only for the people who are like specifically involved, but also just in general. I mean, this is not a good look for true crime YouTubers in general. And that's the thing, is there are a handful of us that it does bother. Like, it bothers me to know that true crime YouTubers have a bad rep, but that's also because I don't do a lot of the stuff that some true crime YouTubers do. You know what I mean? And it's just one of those things where I'm thinking, good for the family. I think it's important to stand up for themselves and go after something that was wrong. I hope it happens a lot more, especially when it comes to this, to hold channels accountable on those who are spreading misinformation or claiming that someone does a specific crime or something like that. Hang on.
Okay, so I'll put my 2 cents in real quick while you're telling me.
Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So I do not disagree with what you're saying, and it was cringy when it was happening. It was. I mean, he went really far into not just with Kylie, just in general. He goes way too far. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't even know if that's going to be a question when it comes to the majority of people who follow true crime. And you got to remember, the guy's one, he's not true crime, so now he's representing a genre that he doesn't actually even belong in. But that's a different story. The thing here is that there's a couple different pieces in the legal aspect of this, and I was reading through it last night, that I do not know if they can win or what the purpose behind it is. So, and I think it was Betty Jo that actually said it in here. Hold on, I'm going to go up and see. It was Betty Jo. So the father and the grandfather, so it's the maternal grandfather. So it's her mom's dad and it's her dad that are in this lawsuit. The lodge was being run by her mom and her stepdad. So the lodge losing money, I do believe that the maternal grandpa had an investment in it. But then there was also the whole thing that the lodge was actually up for sale.
Right.
At one point. So they're going to have to tie the fact that the lodge lost money because of what Ryan did.
Specifically what he did.
Right. And that's going to be hard, just on its face. But the next part comes to what he said about Kylie.
Yeah.
This goes back to just victims in general. What he said about Kylie, you're going to go between legal and moral. If Kylie's deceased, there is no defamation. She doesn't have rights.
Okay.
You lose your basic, and I know people don't agree with it, but that's just the way that it is. People lose once you pass away. You're not alive. You don't have the human rights anymore. So saying that Kylie was fake is they're going to have to tie that actually stopped them from making any money. Emotional distress. I see. That's why I said that it's going to be legally. This is going to be a very tough win for that family, and I believe this is why this started months ago. They were actually in talks of settling back in like February, March.
Right.
The defamations against the grandfather and the father. Okay, so when I was reading the documents, it talks about the things he said about Kylie, the things he said about other YouTubers, the fact that his entourage or his people that follow him were, making videos as well, but they're not actually charged in the lawsuit. One, they don't have any money, so I don't think that that's going to be a thing. And there are going to be people who say that this is just about money because Ryan has money.
Right.
I do not recall Ryan Upchurch talking about her father or her grandfather and defaming them, but I could be wrong. If somebody remembers that, I don't remember that.
And
I know he said stuff about Ikmel. I know he said stuff about Zaname. I know he said stuff about Kylie being the real person was Callie or whatever.
Yep.
But those aren't the people that are actually involved in the lawsuit. So this is what I'm saying. I think that morally and legally, we're talking about two different things. And it is a warning to the YouTube crime community because of the fact that this isn't the first lawsuit that's happening. We have a lot of lawsuits that have happened in this last year against YouTubers. And we just had the
Critical K one.
Critical K just got 500K.
With Andriacchio,
But she stopped fighting. She was like, I don't give a crap, do what you're going to do, and moved on with her life. So that was her choice.
She got ordered to pay $500,000 to the Andriacchio family, Christian Andriacchio's family.
She don't have $500,000. They're not going to see that.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that's what she was technically.
If she had money, this would have been the same thing, that they're just looking for money.
Right.
But I think that they're going to have a hard time proving that he actually did something that caused them to lose money at a lodge that was being sold already, and how that plays into her dad and her grandpa.
Right. Yeah. And I think too, because I was watching The Glare earlier, and
he doesn't like Ryan, so I mean,
he does not like Ryan, so it is biased. But he said that he had looked it up, and according to Google, Ryan Upchurch was worth $4 million or something. So that was my only reason for bringing up Will. But
he's involved in 5 lawsuits right now, one against his own mom, where he's suing her.
Right. I heard that too. But it was just the aspect of it. So I guess I'm just kind of curious. But I've always been the type of person where I'm I have the ability to recognize that these are real people and real cases and real emotions and real people missing and deceased and all these things. So I have that ability to see that difference. And I know that there are a lot of people in the YouTube true crime who don't. They see it as a story, that when they're saying this person did this, that's a real person whose life is being affected by all of this. And I think it's hard to look at it both ways, because obviously I am for free speech and everything like that. But I also think that when you're covering such sensitive topics, you need to cover them with empathy and with kindness, and knowing that you may be talking about something or someone in a suspicious way. That doesn't mean that it's true, number one, but number two, that it's the moral or right thing to do, which also comes down to that's just me as a person and as a creator. That's not going to be what everyone thinks, and I'm okay with that. But it's
Well, that's
more
what
of
I'm
like
saying. I think this is two totally different situations that were in one that we're talking about, because I do not agree with that. It was okay that he was going around and saying that she never existed and she wasn't real, and the stuff with Zanime, and more importantly to me, because of I like Ickadmel, so all of that would just be, it was just so much that I was completely turned off and walked away from anything that had to do with following him. I know that there's people who follow him just for the music, and it is what it is. The guy's got other issues, and I'm not even going to bring that up. But my point to this was the legalities behind the lawsuit. I think it's going to be a very hard win, and I think that what the family probably did was look and say, hey, this is everything that this guy did. This is everything that the people around him did because of what he said. You know, because like I said, they're talking about his entourage of people that also made videos, but they're not suing them. A person who's typically taking on this kind of case is more than likely working on it for a percentage of whatever the payout is. And I don't know if that's the case. I don't have that documentation, but I'm just saying more than likely. And they're not going to go after the people who don't have any money because they need the payout to be able to pay for what they're doing. So in my opinion, I think that the lawsuit is a stretch. I think that the point of the lawsuit is respectable, if that makes sense.
Yeah. More like it's just they're doing it for the fact that they like.
I think that they want that kind of crap to not happen.
Yeah, which I can agree with. I don't think that type of stuff should happen, and I think the speculation.
But, people are comparing it to like Alex Jones, and that's not this. It's not the same situation. That guy went on for years saying that Sandy Hook was completely fake and none of it was real, and the whole thing was a lie. And he did that for years on a podcast where he made a crap ton of money.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's going to come when it comes to the legality behind the lawsuit is, when did Ryan do these things, and what is the law around that? He didn't continue on forever talking about the fact that the whole Kylie thing was a fake. Yes, he did have a theory. Yes, he did share a theory. Yes, I don't agree with this theory. But they're also going to say like how much money he made off of just that situation. And it's like, he has money anyway. Yeah. He wasn't making, his income isn't from, you know, hanging out, talking true crime with people. Those videos actually get much less than his music videos and things do. It was something that he felt passionate about. And I think the first time I ever saw him in true crime was with Summer Wells. So,
yeah, I think it's so much. It's very interesting to me, especially to like be friends with you and other creators who have been in this a lot longer than I have. Because for me, I came into the true crime live streaming aspect of things during Kylie's case, and I didn't realize that true crime live streaming was a thing. And then obviously after Kylie, you know, we had Quentin, we had then Idaho 4, and then obviously I was hooked with Idaho 4. And so for me, I was always just watching I never watched Upchurch, anything about Upchurch. I also I literally watched like you and Allie or channels that you guys were on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
you hadn't gotten widespread yet onto the YouTube platform of who's who and what's what. And that's why I said most people know Ryan Upchurch because of his music and his rise to fame on his music side of things. And then he just popped into true crime and caused chaos, and now most of true crime knows who he is. So so I want to answer a couple questions yet. So Angel's Line said a comment up here, like, can I say what she said something about like, if I say Kylie was really a man and she didn't die, she left for a sex change, that's fine to say because she's dead. It's not fine to say, but is it legal to say is the difference. Do I think that would be okay to say? No, I don't. But now legally, she doesn't necessarily have, she has no human rights.
Right.
and I know that sounds bad, but if you look it up, like once you're deceased,
just
what kind of
legally,
rights you
from a
have?
legal
You can
stance.
literally look that up. Once you die, you don't have rights. This is the same conversation we have about autopsy pictures, and the person who's dead doesn't care that their autopsy pictures are out there. They're not here to care. It's the people around them that care. And this is the same situation with Kylie. It's the family that cares. But Ringo said that Ryan Upchurch said the entire Rodney family was fake. I don't recall that. Did he say that?
He said that it had something to do with just because I when I was listening to the Sleuth Mom or the Glare, one of the two today, I think it had something more to do with when he started to go into the Carlee Ross stuff, saying that like Kylie's whole family wasn't the real family. It was Callie's family, and they were just different aspects of people or something. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't really get into it. But there was just a lot.
For Kylie Rodney?
Yeah.
Let's see, I follow Kylie very closely.
Yeah, when he said he had said something about when he started saying that the Callie person was really Kylie.
Right.
That it was Callie's family that was pretending to be Kylie's family, and that Kylie's family didn't really exist.
Okay,
because they were actually Callie's family.
Ringo said he said that it was all fake and just a major GoFundMe grift. Okay, so
yes.
And somebody needs to tell me then who was in charge of the GoFundMe, because was it the grandpa or the dad?
Huh.
I did see that in the lawsuit about they were sacrificing children at the resort and were hiding Kylie at the dad's house. I did see that. But once again, you have both sides here, because then you have Kylie's not real. So how is Kylie even hiding? And now if Ringo is right, because I don't remember him saying the whole thing was fake. I just remember him saying Kylie was really Callie. That's the biggest thing I remember. But once again, I stopped watching him at this time because I was like, this is really just a waste of my time at this point, because none of this even makes any sense. I thought the mother was in charge of the GoFundMe, but somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. So then we still have to go back to the grandfather and the dad. Okay, so Betty Jo says, I believe it was the grandfather and the dad. All right, so before I say any more, then I'll look more into it, because like I said, I don't have all of it then.
Yeah.
They still have to be able to prove that what he said caused people to not book at that lodge.
Right. Yeah, and I think me and you, we think on the same mindset of looking at things on a more like logical level of like, me and you have both gone to school for this. So to us, we're like, okay, the legalities here are not in the favor of Kylie's family. Is the morality of why they're doing it there? Absolutely. Right. But I think me and you focus a lot more on the legality side of things. And I think that's important to know. Like, me and Teresa have empathy and we care about these cases and these victims, but we also are going to look at the actual black and white of, is this a good case? Could this potentially help? Or so on. Like, what are the actual legalities of it? And just in case anyone in chatter that is listening is like thinking one way or another, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm looking for the GoFundMe.
Okay. Yeah, and like I said, I didn't watch it, and it's the same thing. Like, I've said this from the beginning. Like, I was aware of Summerwell's case, but I was not in the YouTube sphere of things when that was happening. I was, to a certain extent, of like pre-recorded videos, and stuff like that. Like, more of like the mainstream pre-recorded true crime people, Kendall Ray, Danielle Hallen, people like that, Stephanie Harlow. So it was more of like, that's what I was following versus the everyday following of everything. So for me, like, I didn't even see a lot of the interviews until I covered it on a previous channel. So this is
the whole
all
thing
very
was really
new
weird, because the GoFundMe was supposed to be for a reward. And that's another thing that always kind of rubbed me wrong too, was they refused to actually give the money to Adventures with Purpose.
Right. Well, and a lot of people are asking if they're going to end up being signed into something as well because of what they put out, or if Jagger's going to start putting out anything as well.
What do you mean if Jagger's going to put out anything?
If he's going to try and sue someone for all the stuff that's been put out about him, too.
Oh.
You know?
Okay, hold on.
Especially
the mom was in charge of the GoFundMe. It was a fundraiser on behalf of Lindsay.
Okay.
And it raised $63,272.
Hey, Muscles and Mascara. Good to see you. Yeah.
Right. No, I read the lawsuit. I just didn't do all the YouTube links that they showed. But because I followed it most of the time in real life. So what I'm saying, it's in the lawsuit. Nothing he did was something I agree with. I just he thought it was all a grift to become a millionaire with catfishing death, in his own words. But the mom had the GoFundMe, not the dad or the grandpa.
And like I said, I think that it's such a touchy subject because there is so many emotions behind everything, and especially with Kylie's case, and it makes it hard.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, I mean, it's interesting to see how it ends up, but I just don't know. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to have a leg to stand on and be able to tie what he did to them.
Because there needs to be a direct proof.
Sleuth Mom said exactly how it is.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, there has to be. They have to be able to show that he actually caused this issue.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely going to be something that I'm going to watch. I probably won't touch on it a ton just because it's not something that I was really into to begin with. Like a lot of the things when I went and I was watching people go over the lawsuit itself, and they were pulling up these videos that were were connected to the lawsuit itself. I'd never seen the videos before. So it's more of just, I'm just kind of interested to see what's happening. Yeah, right, Ringo? Exactly. I would say
I always felt really bad for her dad and the grandpa. They were the ones that were there. They were the ones that were waiting. They were the ones that were watching. I always felt like there was something off with the mom. I don't want to victim bash, but I did. There was the whole thing was kind of weird. But the dad and the grandpa, and either way, I mean, they're all victims, so it doesn't really matter how I feel about any of them.
Yeah.
And somebody asked about, like, what did Jagger do? People accuse Jagger of being, involved in her disappearance.
Well, and Adventures with Purpose, too, had put out the video that never said it was Jagger, but very much insinuated that it was Jagger at the other place and everything like that. So it's
Jagger wasn't even there. It had nothing to do with Jagger. So I mean, it was weird when people went to the Jagger part. I mean, I tried to see if it would even fit. Like when I was following the case, I'm like, Jagger never made sense. It just didn't. They're just texting each other about what they're doing for the evening, and they're together like that. It never made any sense.
Yeah. So Angels Lie to Keep Control says, so can we talk malicious about dead victims and it's legally okay? Technically, legally, you can say anything. Whether, specifically on my channel, no. I'm never going to allow victim bashing or anything like that. I want to keep high morale here, and having respect in the victims and the victims' families is my number one goal. So, personally here, it's not, but legally, I think it's a whole nother story.
Legally, you cannot slander or defame a dead person. They do not have they don't have any human rights anymore. They're not alive to have them.
Yeah.
Which I think is
legal.
It surrounds this entire true crime community on almost every controversy we've had lately. It's about the people who loved that person. And that's the people we're hurting and doing things to if we say or do certain things. And it comes to that. So it's it depends on if you. When I was on Sleuth Moms, she asked me a question that's stuck with me since she asked it. When I got into true crime, did I get into true crime to try to help victims, or did I get into true crime to cover true crime as a person who likes criminal justice and law and things like that. And I did. And I think that there are people who've gotten into true crime to help victims, to share their stories and to do, right by like the victim and the victim's family. And then there's people who got into true crime because of the interest in why people commit the crimes. What's the difference? How do you stop it? How do you prevent it? What are the similarities? What are the warning signs? Things like that. I've always been very interested in the crimes themselves, but that doesn't take away that I actually care about the victims. Like I become very attached to certain ones, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Legally, my feelings do not always represent what is legal. Legally, a dead person has no human rights.
Right.
I'm not trying to say that we should just go around and say anything we want to say about all the dead people in the world, because that goes with our character and who we are as people, and if we actually do care about other people's feelings. So I'm somebody who I'd like to cover the crime, and that's when we talked about, even with the autopsy photos and all the panels I've been on, it's the same thing. Like, they do not bother me, but they're not my kids. They're not my family.
Right.
So do I have a right to say whether they should or shouldn't be there? No, I don't. But I do believe that the steps need to be taken in the legal aspect versus what we feel and think outside of it. It has to be changed from the legal side. It has to be legally, not just immoral.
Right. Well, you can't charge someone based on their feelings. It has to be something that's in a legal standing. So I agree.
Right. So I don't know if they have enough to say that what Ryan Upchurch did was illegal. Do I believe that the majority of the actual true crime community believes it was? Yes.
Yeah.
That's where I stand with it. But I will watch it because I want to know how it plays out, and I think that it doesn't just only
it's
affect
going to set a
Ryan.
precedence. I think. I think it's going to be
Absolutely.
very interesting if the Rodney family does end up winning. I think it's going to not only set a precedence for a lot of other families, but just in general, how true crime YouTubers can actually cover cases, but in a good way. You know what I mean? I don't think it's going to stop those that don't give a shit, but I think it'll be a lot more. Now I forgot what I was going to say. What was I saying? It's been a long 3 hours. I'm trying to think.
No, I know. We got to wrap it up. I got to go have dinner anyway, but
no. Yeah, I'm planning on it.
It was a great conversation all in general. I love talking to you. It's like, this is how we talk on the phone. This is what we talk. You know what I mean? This is just how we talk anyway. So we're just doing it with more opinions and more people with us.
Great. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate you coming up. I know it was last minute, but
I am making tacos. FYI.
Are you?
That was already we're having carne asada tacos for dinner. Yes, that was already preordained before anybody talked about tacos in the chat. It was decided before I even came on the line.
I love that. But
so here's the thing. When you talk about any topics that are like this, and I'm glad that you saved it to the end too, but any topics that are like this are always full of controversy because there's a lot of emotion that goes behind it, and that comes from our own personal feelings, our own, life experiences, and our own, mental health and knowledge of different things. So I don't want anybody to fight with each other, and that's why we typically I don't even like talking about the controversial stuff because it always does end up in fights. But there's nobody's wrong for feeling however they feel. Like, that's the bottom line. Nobody's wrong for feeling the way they feel about autopsy photos. Nobody's wrong for feeling the way that they feel about what people should and shouldn't say on the internet. I don't think people are wrong. It's based on where they come from, and then we align ourselves with people who kind of have that same moral compass we do, or we understand where their moral compass is coming from. We don't necessarily always have to agree to know that where we're coming from is the right is a good place. Like, I'm not trying to say I think Ryan Upchurch is an upstanding citizen and he did a great job covering Kylie Rodney. And if you walk away thinking that's how I feel, then you probably didn't listen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
because I just don't know if he can be legally liable for what he did say.
Right.
And it's also going to depend on when he did say it. I just don't.
Right.
And the fact that the mom is not involved in this lawsuit is going to be a hiccup, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think too, like, something going forward with my channel, which is something that I think you go forward with your channel as well, is that I'm always open to these conversations and we can disagree, and we could end things with agreeing to disagree and still be okay, because we're adults and we can have conversations where we disagree and it not ruin everything. You know what I mean? So it's like, I am all for someone coming in chat and having an opposite opinion and having the ability to, like, say their thoughts and be respected in chat and be respected by panel and stuff like that. Just like I would expect everyone in chat to respect mine and Teresa's opinions and something like that. So for me, it's never been something where I would say, oh, over here we believe this, so I'm gonna block you if you don't
you can't disagree. You can't.
Exactly. And that will never.
Don't be an asshole about it. That's pretty much how it is.
Yep, exactly.
ATS said, she's popped back in chat and said, he said that Kylie was fake and the whole thing was fake for a scam for GoFundMe money, which wasn't true. Therefore, defamation or libel, in my opinion. This is what we were talking about with the legality behind it, though, is if the GoFundMe is in the mom's name, the lodge is being run by the mom and the stepdad.
Right.
She's not on the lawsuit. Do grandpa and dad have any leg to stand on about him saying that about the one man would be his daughter and the other one would be his ex-wife?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a conversation that's going to continue, and I suggest going to Teresa's Sleuth Moms. I know who else is covering it. I
have not covered it. I actually didn't go live. I was trying to get this freaking video done.
Oh, right. But just in general,
and I keep adding to it.
I will always shout out T, because
thank
I
you.
respect T, and I think she does a really good job.
I love this.
But I'm trying to think of who else is covering this. I know, hang on, I just got a notification that Sweet Misery True Crime is actually live right now going over it. And there's a lot of other people. Hey, Tattoos, how are you?
Hi, Tattoos. Oh, so Sweet Mom said, from what I understand in some of the other lawsuits going on currently, they don't have to prove loss of income if it's done with malice.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, then you got to prove malice. So that's why I'm saying, like, and I am not I don't know civil law nearly as well as I know criminal law. That was not my forte whatsoever. So maybe, but then you have to prove that he did it with malice and that he didn't actually believe that was what was true. And I don't know how you can do that, but I mean, I guess you can.
Yeah, but
I hear you.
So I'll keep you guys updated. I'm still gonna. This is actually just like a bonus live for this week. I haven't quite decided what my live is going to be about this week. I am working with someone close to the Dior Kuntz case, but I don't think that it's going to be ready for this week. But
can we cover? I heard you when you were on Allie's and you were talking about Timothy Pitson.
I'm going to cover him. Yes,
Will you cover it with me?
Absolutely.
That's like right next to my hometown. It was the city my dad was a cop in.
Well, and so my grandpa lives in Central Illinois.
Right.
And so every time that we would drive there, a lot of the times we'd stay at the Clock Tower Hotel in, what's it called? Rockford, which is where they stayed. That was one of the hotels that they stayed in other than in Wisconsin Dells, which I've been to the one in Wisconsin Dells as well. But that has always been.
Rockford was one of the cities my dad worked in.
Oh, really?
I was born in Belvedere, which is right next to it.
Yeah. Cool. I forget that. that you're from the
that
Midwest.
I'm from there. Yeah. That I'm a Midwest girl at heart where they have all the pop.
Yeah, right? I know.
Hi, Kate.
But
Bye.
yes, Timothy Pitson, I would love to cover it with you.
Awesome.
And
I do Dior Coons with you too, but I know you're gonna go like balls deep in it. So,
well, yes.
Are you still gonna go through? Are you gonna finish with like the victims from Long Island though? Are you gonna do more on like a series on that or no?
So I'm gonna do each individual victims specifically, just because I think they deserve to have their stories told, not as a potential risk victim, but as like their own people. And that's the thing too, is when it comes to the Long Island serial killer, he's only been charged with 3 of these bodies so far. So
right. Well, they say they have the 4th one that they're in the works of, but
yes,
the three so far. But that's what I was hoping you were going to do, because like I said, I paid attention to that when it all happened, but it's not something I ever dug too deep into. So I really appreciated your live and giving, you know, Shannon Gilbert, like she had it was her whole story.
Well, right.
I don't think people know.
Even if she ends up being not a part of the Long Island serial killer, I think
doesn't matter. She still deserved it.
Absolutely. And that's kind of why I covered it the way that I did. And I didn't want to just, you know, throw out there as we're covering this because she did this. I wanted to be able to get her story out there, and I plan on doing that with the rest of the victims for Long Island.
So. I'm glad that you're going to do that. That'll
Yeah.
be something I'm very interested in.
Full
what is a fountain mountain? I don't even know what that is.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Full Bassin, thanks for being here. It means a lot to me. Said, good to see you on your live cast. Is this the time you normally do your show? I don't have a normal time.
She's gonna keep it. Keep you on your toes.
Yep. I usually do schedule it like for my actual normal content lives a few days ahead of time, but it's kind of all over the place. So just if you want, please subscribe. Turn on your bell notifications. It should let you know. It probably won't, because that's just how YouTube works, but you can try. And also, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, it's just at Mallory Doyle. And I am on there a lot. You can message me on there. You can tweet me. I always respond. I have Instagram. I have TikTok. I have Facebook. They all should be linked. And thank you again, T, for coming up and shooting the shit.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys all hanging out.
Yeah, thank you guys for all coming. Thank you for all hanging out and doing everything and asking all the questions. That's why we're here. We're here to get, you know, these victims' names out there and help tell their stories and help fight for justice for them. So that's our plan. That's the plan for this channel. If that's something you guys want to, you know, follow and help me do, then please stick around, subscribe, hit the like button, guys. Help us get out there. And sorry guys. Follow me on X. We're Xers.
Follow me on X. Oh jeez. So
but I'm gonna end it out here, guys. So have a great rest of your night. Everyone be safe. Say prayers for those who are in need tonight. Victims, families, and just anyone in general. Stay kind, support everyone. And hey Drunk Turkey Show.
I think Rex is responsible for more.
I would be definitely interested. Also,
they're gonna be searching all the different locations. They were talking about when he was in Vegas and
he's got so many different properties in different places. And it's gonna be very interesting to see how it does play out. But also, guys, make sure that you guys are willing to listen to all perspectives, keep an open mind, stay respectful.
Stay kind.
I was just going to end with that. Everyone, stay kind to everyone. And that's where we're going to end it out. Have a great night, guys.
Love you all. Bye.
Bye. Eventually.